Welcome to my so-called podcast.
On this episode, we're talking about the best of 1998. Hey, welcome to my so-called podcast. I'm Gary Linton.
And I'm Eric Spiegel, and we're doing the best of, not the best of 2018.
Oh, no.
All the peons do that. We do the best of 1998, and it's me and you, Gary. We're here alone.
Eric, open your eyes. Look around. There's more people here.
There's all kinds of people here. So yeah, at the end of every year, what we like to do is go back to the year in the 90s that's analogous to us. 20 years ago. That'll only work for one more time.
So we started podcasting in the middle, so we can go back and catch up.
A few more. Yeah, we'll have to go 30 years ago.
Wow.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, we can redo it. It'll be 10 years until we get back to what we did already.
Oh, okay.
But this is fun.
Wait, let's stop doing math.
Okay.
So we have all of the folks that were on a podcast in this calendar year. They're here to try to recapture some of that glory. I mean, there was one part of the year that was really magical for them, and that was being on our podcast. And they're here to try to grab a hold of that again. Gary, who's sitting to your right?
My right.
Visual podcast.
I have Alicia Spiegel.
All right, Alicia, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Alicia.
This microphone.
I'm talking to that one.
Put that on the ground. It's confusing.
Yeah. I don't know.
Hello, I'm Alicia.
Right, and what podcast were you on?
My so-called podcast.
Right, which episode? That's correct. You passed the test. But what?
No. I just needed some help to figure that out. I was actually on twice.
She knows a guy.
I get a prize.
She knows a guy who knows a guy. She knows Gary who knows me.
Right.
Wait, so I have to ask you to have who on our podcast?
You have to ask me if it's okay to have Alicia on.
Oh, okay.
So, anyway, I was on Pretty Violator and Frankenhooker Step by Step.
Frankenstep.
Frankenstep, yes, that's it. There you go.
Pretty Violator is in the top 10 best named episodes of our podcast.
That was all Gary.
Okay.
I'd watch that movie.
Right. Banan, returning champion, is next. What episode were you on?
Hi, I was also on Pretty Violator, and I was on Feeling Colors with, the movie was Primary Colors and then Feeling Strangely Fine. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Super Soakers.
Oh, man.
Supersonic.
SpaghettiOs.
Shit.
The Aristocats.
That's right.
We digress.
I'm Lauren Neiman, and I was on episode 111.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Lucky.
Numbers!
No math.
Numbers.
Do the Sixth Collapse was the episode. So we talked about The Sixth Sense and Guided by Voices. Do the Collapse, which has become one of the best albums in my collection.
Have you
No, I still haven't listened to it.
No,
I haven't.
Still hasn't listened.
No.
It's her New Year's resolution.
You're in a upper echelon of guests that didn't listen to the album. We had a guest, Michelle Horowitz, who picked Clueless for the podcast, but didn't listen to the soundtrack, which was the album. It's like
Maybe she thought she said to have her ears open while she watched the movie.
Right, that's true. She should have thought of that. She did not. She was just like, I didn't listen to it.
I will say I got about 2 songs in, and then I bailed. So
well,
I did
in
try.
your defense, Guided by Voices did not seem like a good band to me.
Right.
Amanda?
So, yeah, Amanda, and I was on episode 104, Boys for the Dollhouse, which was the highlight of my year, talking about Tori Amos's album, Boys for Pele, and welcome to the movie, Welcome to the Dollhouse. Yeah. It was the best of all the things.
Yeah, that was a good app.
That was a good app.
Good app.
Good app.
I'm Jim. I was on episode Saving Private Mermaid. Which was about...
Titles are so clever.
Yeah.
Oh, Gary.
Saving Private Ryan and Mermaid Avenue, which both came out in 1998.
Oh, yeah.
He's got like a...
You're like a step
Stellar.
That's it.
That's it. Okay. I'm Paul. I was on Groundhog Music, which was Groundhog Day and music by 311.
Oh, I forgot we talked about 311's music. Why did we do that?
Oh, man.
That's what
For the same reason that you forgot it.
Yes.
Do you right?
I'm Eric Spiegel. I'm the host of the podcast with my co-host, Gary.
Hey, this is Scott. I was on an episode called No Dr. Moreau, which was Pearl Jam's No Code, which is awesome, and The Island of Dr. Moreau, which is not.
I'm Beth Caro, and I was on the Madonna episode.
Madonna's Truth and Dare and the Immaculate Collection, right? Wasn't that the album that we talked about?
That's right. That was one of the biggest cheats until your son was on.
I'm Justin. I was on the episode Edward Wembley Hands, which is about Edward Scissorhands and the Queen album that was released, which was a concert in 1986, which is how I cheated the podcast.
Wow, that's super cheap. The VHS copy of the Live at Wembley concert was released the same week as Edward Scissorhands.
Oh, wow. In England.
Brilliant.
All right.
Beautiful loopholes.
This was us going with our guest. We were like, oh, Justin looked it up.
You Google it. It says 1990. Okay.
Who's counting? It's Captain Roll. I was on, I think it was Running Stripes?
Yep.
It was The White Stripes and Run Lola Run, which came out in 98, but it didn't come out in America until 1999, so close enough, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
The Germans.
Yeah, we use...
American only, yeah.
We use, the UK when it was released. We use film festivals. We cheat all the damn time.
Bend it like Beckham, baby.
Yep. Which was released in the 2000s. So,
I mean, not that.
Sorry,
Can't
Karen.
talk
Count it. We'll count it.
We'll count it. Now that it's been mentioned on this podcast.
1999.
Count it then.
Well, the other girl in Bend It Like Beckham was on ER, which was on in the 90s. So it's fine, right? Like, it's legit. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
We're going to talk about 1998. I was going to... We do some trivia sometimes, on the podcast. Like the year trivia, the week trivia. But I was going to just rattle off some stuff.
You're going to rattle off some stuff. So it's a completely different podcast this time. Burn! Yeah.
Are there stakes?
They're not steaks. I don't have any trivia about the steaks. But I was just going to give you some things to put you in the mindset of 1998. Are you guys ready?
The highlights.
Yeah. Open your mind.
Clear your chakra.
Lewinsky.
Ah, yes.
Steve Lewinsky, yes.
Blue dress.
Google founded. iMac.
Yeah.
What?
The Euro.
The
final Seinfeld.
I can cut this out.
Yeah.
The Nokia 6120.
That's the phone I have right now.
Furbies. The Rachel.
You're just giving away my list.
I know. These are all the things I plan to talk about.
American Airlines
You ruined the whole
had the
episode.
first electronic ticket. The Bellagio casino opened.
Really? Nice.
The cost of a new house in 1998 was $129,000. That's the average.
Wow.
What about now? What do you think the average house price is now?
$130,000.
$250.
Yeah.
$395.
La-di-da.
Everybody drinks.
And listen to this. This is why everybody's complaining on Twitter. Average income then? $38,000. Average income now?
$38,000.
Well, 51. It certainly hasn't tripled. The stamp. You guys remember how much a stamp cost?
You guys remember stamps?
Stamps. Yeah, right. True.
Yeah.
You remember stamps.com?
The what?
They're still there. The stamp is 32 cents. What was it? What is it now?
50
cents?
No, it's like 49.
It's forever.
It's 50. It's Christmas
forever.
It
Forever.
just changed.
Just went up.
50, yeah. All right. The Yankees defeated San Diego in the World Series. Denver defeated Green Bay.
Yeah, it was a big one.
Chicago defeated Utah.
And the Cardinals were...
The Bulls.
No.
I don't even know what
Repeat,
sports you're
man.
talking
McGuire
about.
year.
Well, the first one was baseball.
The second
one was football.
Oh, no, you
Third
don't have
one
to
was
say, I don't
basketball. Yeah, I knew you didn't
Bulls.
care. I thought you could just zone out for a second, huh?
You're talking
NHL, Detroit defeated Washington. Woo! And World Cup, France defeated Brazil. So that was a little bit of 98 for you all.
Nice.
Sorry
Thanks,
if I
Eric.
ruined everybody's list.
You did. It's
Yeah, you
Sorry.
I'm
So
Furbies
what
are
we
my
like to
favorite,
do
too.
is go around in a circle. We went around that-a-way to talk about who we are. So we'll start with Kat,
I'll start, sure.
and we're going to just say anything that happened to you in 1998. It's low stakes, people.
Low stakes.
Anything that happened to you.
Nothing exciting.
This should not be something you skip. Anything.
Name a
Although
thing.
I will say, you can skip any category, maybe other than this one, because something
there has
happened.
to be something.
Okay, you can skip anything else. That's fine.
Well, you know. So in college, my whole scheme was I'm going to work all summer. So in summer '98, I was like, all right, I'm going to get a job. I'm going to save up some money. And the first week of summer vacation, I broke my elbow skateboarding. Like hardcore, like an idiot. And so suddenly I had the whole summer off.
Ooh, and that's why you're an author.
It was great. It turned out really good. At the time, I was like, I am so screwed. Because I was supposed to be working for a moving company in a sling.
Oh, that would have been worse.
This is not going to work. And also, my other memory from 1998, I was making out with a girl, and in the middle of it, she stopped me and said, hey, we were both drunk, and she said, I bet you don't remember my name. And I said, come on, that's ridiculous. It's Andrea. She was like, no, it's Amy. But it's cool, we're drunk. So it worked out.
She said it's
Mulva.
She said it was cool. She said it was cool.
Question: are you friends on Facebook now?
We are not friends on Facebook now. No.
Because you kept
It was
looking for
an
Andrea.
S.
I looked up Andrea and she wasn't there, you know? Kind of uppity. So, I mean, who remembers people's names? Am I right, Steve?
I didn't know you were a skateboarder. Have you seen one of the 3 skateboarding movies from 2018?
Gleaming the Cube, baby. I was a big Gleaming the Cube in the 90s. That was a good movie.
In 2018, there's been a lot of skateboarding movies. Jonah Hill directed mid-90s.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the end of my skateboarding career. I broke my elbow and I was like, at
That's
19,
enough
I was
with
like,
that.
I'm done with this. I'm too old for this. So, good decision.
And the end of your
getting
tennis
too old
career.
The end of my tennis career. Yeah, but it was a great summer. Didn't have to work.
Tennis elbow.
Right, well, you were making out. That's
That's
good.
what I'm gonna say.
Yeah. With a girl, too. It was awesome.
All right, Justin, what do you remember from that summer?
I just want to thank the host, Eric, for insisting that we don't skip. It's wonderful. 98. The 90s were a rough time for me. My
You were
mom
trying to exist.
Yeah.
Barely there.
My mom would know a lot more about what I was doing in 98, so I'm going to pass this to her.
So I got married and graduated from college in 1988. It was a light year.
Oh, and you went on your honeymoon. You wore those horrible leggings.
Thank you.
Way to sum that one
Sorry,
up.
Beth.
No, there's beautiful pictures of you north of San Francisco wearing these awful leggings.
Visual podcast.
Scott?
It's your turn,
Sure.
Scott.
All right. So 98. I also finished college in 98. I got a summer internship at a place called the Oak Park Career Center, which ended up being a full-time job, which was my first
It's a
actual
career
job.
center. It's a career center.
Exactly. So it was a place where people would come and put their resume online, which a lot of people needed help with. back in 98. And,
Right, because they didn't know how to turn on a computer, etc.
So it turned into the first full-time job with like benefits and all that stuff, which I did that until I went to grad school later on. And that's about it.
Okay. I would say 98 was momentous for me because my sister wore these crazy leggings.
Burned a hole in your memory. Just burned that hole.
So you were really burning things up in 1998 if that was your memorable moment.
No.
Your sister wearing leggings.
No, I would say it was a turning point for me because that was the last time I went home and lived with my parents in the summer. So I had a job, but I lived with my parents at night, and I was like, there's something wrong with this picture.
Yeah, it was my last summer home, too, yeah.
It was like, you come home from college for the second year, and you're like, oh, no.
It's got lamer? How did this get lamer? It was already super lame last summer.
No, I mean, parents are awesome, Justin, but... I had a job at a day camp again, but I was living with the parents, and then went back to college, and that was that. I was a real grown-up after that. So 98.
All right. 98 was my senior year in college, and we moved into an apartment for the first time out of the dorms. I moved in with this guy and two other fellas.
Jim?
This guy, Eric.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. I know his podcast. And so we moved there. The only bed I could get from my parents' house was a toddler bed.
Junior bed.
A junior bed. So it was exactly the size of my body.
No, it wasn't.
Okay, it was a little smaller, but it was very nice. And we decided to put Ralph Wiggum on the door and had a bubble of him saying, I have a junior bed.
I have a junior bed!
So that was very good. It almost rivaled the decor of the random prop we stole from a musical trash.
Oh, yeah.
And put that up on the wall. So,
musical trash?
Yeah.
Oh,
It was a bunch of guys playing, horribly painted guys playing saxophone and trumpet.
It was really
It was
ugly.
half of them, though.
Right.
We're missing the other half of that prop.
The top half?
Wouldn't fit.
And it went behind your really ugly couch.
It just
So
leaned on the
looks really
couch.
good.
Yeah.
It scratched up the wall, so we lost our apartment deposit.
That's right.
Sounds like it was worth it, though.
Yeah, totally worth it. It was totally gross.
Saved the money on that one.
My favorite memory from 1998 was summer between junior year and senior year. I stayed at school. I was doing some work on campus, and I was just going to ride my bike from the house to campus every day. But over some beers, I acquired a car. I paid a pitcher of beer for this car.
What?
And so I had this car, and then I found out that it didn't have reverse.
It's overrated.
Totally overrated.
This is the challenge.
It needed about a quart of oil pretty much every day.
Only a
And
quart?
Certainly no deed was exchanged or anything silly like that.
Yeah.
So put the quart of oil in every day, was careful where I parked, but it allowed me to work at the record store, which was awesome.
Yeah.
And then one day I woke up, I didn't need the car that day. I noticed a lot of signs along the street that said, do not park here today. I came home and the car was gone, and I asked my roommate, what happened to the car? He's like, I don't know. And we didn't ask any questions because we didn't want to stir that pot. So the car was gone, but it was good while it lasted.
Had a good run.
Had a good run.
But it remains in your heart.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
1998 for me was the first full year of college, and it was also the year I started working at a record store. So
Very
I was
nice.
on the front lines of everything that we're going to talk about tonight.
Yeah.
It was the year I moved in with my boyfriend, because I was super smart and grown up then. And yeah, it was a great year. It was a great year of like just exciting stuff.
All right.
1998 for me, I remember I was making out with a guy, and I asked him, do you know my name?
Son of a bitch!
No, that was something else. No, 98 for me was...
And you
that
were
was,
14.
Yeah, right. Thank you for that.
Oh, that adds up.
Actually, 98 was the year I turned 21. So
That's cool.
that was...
Not a lot of memories.
I don't remember a whole lot of it past February.
Real fuzzy.
But yeah, I had just moved back to St. Louis from Madison, Wisconsin. I tried to move there. I think I was like for maybe 4 months, and then winter hit, and I got out.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, that's
Nice.
what I did in 98.
Yeah. 98 for me was, I guess, the end of sophomore year, the beginning of junior year. And I got a cell phone that year, so I was really grown up in that way.
So spoiled.
I know. Well, I had to work for it. I worked 2 part-time jobs and took 21 credit hours. And I caused myself to go to the university clinic and be like, why is this rash developing? And they were like, stop working so hard. So that was an okay year for me. It wasn't.
You deserved the phone.
I deserved that phone.
I don't know. 98 phone was like, are you a drug dealer?
Yeah,
Why do you
right?
have a phone?
I got a phone because my car broke down.
And you needed to sell those drugs.
I needed to sell those drugs.
They don't sell themselves.
No, they do not.
Yeah, my
Yeah,
turn,
it's
huh?
Alicia's turn.
Okay, yeah, so I'm the same age as Banan. It was between, what'd you just say? Sophomore and junior year, yeah. And kind of the same thing. Last summer at home, I was working at a daycare, and I had to be there at 7 in the morning, and that was really hard to do, especially since I watched movies with my boyfriend till like 2 in the morning or something.
What? You never told me you had a boyfriend?
It was you.
It sounds like the worst.
Yeah, so several times that summer I thought I had lice because I worked at a daycare. Every time a kid had lice, I'm like, I want to go home and take a shower. Yeah, I don't know why that came into my head, but there you go.
Yeah.
They like clean hair.
It was a really good year otherwise, though.
We used to rent 2 movies for $1 from the grocery store.
Yep.
And then we'd watch them. That was pretty sweet.
In 1998, yeah.
Yeah.
Big spender.
Cheap.
Yep.
Yeah, buy one, get one free.
Yeah.
The new releases were $3. We don't need those.
Whoa, I don't need that noise. They're gone anyway.
We work for minimum wage. I mean,
Yep.
Gary.
All right, yeah. So 1998 was the year that I opened the Bellagio.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Good buffet.
No, 98 I transferred from Southwest Missouri State University. Go Bears.
Go Bears.
Go Bears.
To Webster University. Go Gorlock.
Go.
That's my big life event. So, there we go.
All right. Gary, what's the next thing we're going to talk about?
Eric, I think we were going to talk about the best TV, which is a little bit of a departure for us. We usually talk about music and movies, but we are named after a TV show. So
It's true, which was not on it.
Gary and
No,
Eric.
no.
Eric and Gary. I remember
my
that
so-called
TV show.
podcast
Our
is after my
TV
so-called
show
life.
is not. I mean, our podcast is not called Eric and Gary.
Should be.
I thought you meant
You should
two
consider that.
individuals.
It'd be
were named after
easier
a
to
TV
Google
show.
if it was called Eric and Gary. Then you wouldn't get that podcast
That
that's
other
about
thing.
my so-called podcast.
Well, it makes sense that it's called My So-Called Podcast is about my so-called life.
What I thought about this was just anything you remembered watching that was on TV in 1998. I just thought we would go through some other categories other than the normal ones.
Yeah, sounds good.
But like I said earlier, you can skip whatever, Justin.
I actually have an answer for this.
Okay.
So we're gonna
Alicia,
start
we're
with
going that
Alicia?
Oh
way.
yeah, okay. I guess I like DR. There you go.
All right.
Emergency Room.
Yeah.
That's what ER stands for.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Emergency room of love.
So I'm binge watching this show right now, and I'm going to go with Buffy again. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I think I did this last year, but I
Is
was
that in
also
98?
yeah. And I have a bunch of other ones that I was also watching, but I want to put down Cardinals baseball because that was
Big Mac.
That was what was going on. so I
Big
watched
Mac.
a lot of that.
Yeah, what happened with the Padres? Come on.
Had to check his notes for that.
Tony Gwynn, man. He had that 3-hit game in Game 4 against the Yankees. Almost won it. They swept, but
I was going to say
Tony...
they were swept.
He almost won it, but they won.
Kevin Brown was pitching for the Padres that year. He's a
So
good pitcher.
if you go to San Diego, you can walk up to the stadium, and it's on Tony Gwynn Avenue, which is nice.
The
Tony
only,
Gwynn is the best.
the only Padres. Like, the team was terrible. And
Moment of silence
And
for
if
Tony
you go
Gwynn.
there in the gift shop, you can buy the old gold striped Padres with the smooth
Wow,
key, which
Lonnie,
is
that-
cool.
but also, Big Mac. That was 98.
Which
I did say specifically Cardinals
Which-
baseball.
Yeah, she did.
But,
Banana,
yeah.
which
I know what you're talking
which
about,
season
something.
of Buffy was 98? Do you know?
Yes, it was the second half of season 2, I think, and then the first half of season 3. They were great.
Right. I was surprised to find out that Angel is in the first season.
Are you watching it? Are you guys watching it?
We
you tried.
we keep trying. I feel the same way about Buffy the Vampire Slayer as I do about The Wire. I will watch it.
One day.
One day. I will.
We own it now.
And every year
Yeah,
I will
force yourself even.
And
Maybe like if I get cancer or something.
Let's joke about cancer. That's good.
I've thought about that. Like, I wish I had a serious illness so I could catch up on my TV.
I thought about you having a serious illness too. That's so.
You're thinking about that right now.
I'm super duper.
But
don't know how to respond to that.
what do you think about season 2 and 3?
Oh, they're great. They're so good. Please, just get.
We're going to.
Yeah,
We're
get
gonna watch it.
the first season is campy. It's okay, but
So
and
get it out of the way.
It's not really that bad though, but you do need to it really hits. No, it hits its stride like in season.
Which season is Hush in?
What?
4.
Hush.
That's the episode where they don't talk.
It's 4. It's a whole episode.
I've heard
so they
things.
don't actually
I've
talk.
heard things.
Yeah.
I've heard things.
All right,
Lauren.
I'm going to say Sex in the City. It debuted in '98, and I actually remember seeing it. I had HBO at the time. I had cable.
Ooh la la.
I know, right? I was fancy.
La-dee-da.
But I remember seeing it come on and wondering, what is this show? And it was like a marathon, as HBO loves to do, marathon of shows. And it was, I just remember liking it and thinking, this is crazy.
Were you Mr. Big or Aiden? Or who did you want
Oh,
Carrie?
yeah.
Wow, at the end.
Chris in the
Yeah.
morning, you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think I like he's a big burly guy. I like him.
Okay.
Better than Big.
Yeah.
He makes furniture.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't like that?
I do.
Yeah, Northern Exposure. Come on. He was fantastic.
So for me, Amanda, my number one show of that year would have been X-Files, X-Files,
yeah.
X-Files, and then some more X-Files. And then I would have ironically watched Celebrity Deathmatch a lot.
What was that?
All about
That was on
claymation,
on
celebrities
claymation.
fighting each other. That we were all about. And I made a lot of fun of my roommate for loving Dawson's Creek. That was a big part of that year.
Yeah,
was
that
making
first
fun of
season
them.
of Dawson's Creek.
Yeah.
I was all in on Joey.
Whatever, Pacey for life.
That's right.
Get out of here with that noise.
Well, think about it. Now we have Michelle Williams, one of the greatest actors of our generation.
Right. So
And
jokes on
Dawson,
me.
still very famous.
Vander
He's very
Week.
happy.
So yeah, X-Files every week.
Although,
Smoking
if you could
Man,
have
stuff.
1 hour with coffee with one of those people, it'd probably be Joey, right? Like, I want to know what Tom Cruise is really like when the lights go on.
Oh.
Wait,
No, I just want to know what his personality is.
With the lights on.
How do you?
Be careful, man. If
When
we
the
talk
doors
about-
are closed.
The
I mean.
Scientology lawyers are going to be here in like an hour.
Yeah.
Be careful with
I'm
that.
a psychiatrist. If they were going to come, they would
It's
already
actually me.
His name is already on a list. So
Your tell was the X-Files.
Yes.
I literally watched no TV in 1998, but I remember.
Oh,
a lot
I'm
of
so
people-
great.
So awesome.
That's before that was cool.
I remember a lot of people watching
He
Friends.
couldn't even afford a
That was
car.
my first
Jim just said, I remember a lot of people watching Friends.
That's what I remember walking through the TV room. Yes.
Yeah, it's true.
Yep.
Where were you that people were watching Friends?
In the dorm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
common
big
room
deal.
in the dorm.
And that's something, right? There was a TV room.
Yeah.
You had to go to that place to watch Friends.
Oh yeah, do they have
true.
TV rooms now in college?
They do.
No.
Yeah, okay. Not
Does
everybody's
anyone-
not
Yeah, I
watching
mean,
on
it's
their
just the
phones.
lounge, but yeah,
Do people watch TV together?
not really.
Do people
It's just on.
Do people do
ambient
anything
noise.
together now?
Is the lounge used for any reason?
Look at their phones. They look at their phones together.
Yeah.
Near
Didn't
one
Netflix
another.
just pay like $1 billion for Friends?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
Not
Yeah.
like $1 billion.
They paid like
Wow.
legit,
100 million. So yeah, like $1 billion.
but still, like way more than you would think those stale jokes would be worth.
We
But
don't
they
do
are.
math on the show, so
I think there was
very
a
popular
season of
again now.
Friends that they paid $100 million to, like, for all of the actors.
Wow.
Like, didn't they all negotiate
yeah.
for one of
Yeah.
the
So
seasons?
for all of them to be paid equally.
I know.
Yeah.
So my joke about
That's a
that, which
different thing.
take it or leave it, is that Netflix should just watch TBS because it's on
Yeah,
there.
it is.
Just hook the feed
They paid
into
a bunch
TBS.
of money for that.
It's already
We've
there.
already done that joke on this podcast, I think.
Well, no,
Gary, you make those comments like we have listeners that listen to
That's
all
true,
the
you're right.
podcast episodes.
Almost.
Paul?
Yeah. I was one of the people that Jim remembered watching Friends, so I picked Friends because of how much I watched it in college. Because we watched the half an hours of the 2 episodes before, straight into the actual new episode of Friends. So we watched.
there was
Did you watch it when it was Jesse after?
So he watched a rerun at 6 p.m.
Take my part.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we watched the rerun at 6 p.m. and another rerun at 6:30, which were both on different cycles of the story, and that rolled into the actual new episode at 7.
And then you watched all of the must-see TV.
And then in the middle, Bose talked about the lemon pepper, and it was pretty great. So, that's all.
Do you remember... So
what
this
was the lineup? Yeah, what was the must-see TV lineup?
Will and Grace.
Are you talking the beginning of? So
no, that was on Tuesday with Frasier.
That's right.
At this point.
Seinfeld was 8 then, wasn't it?
You're going to steal my thunder, but whatever.
So the first part, it was...
Yeah, it was in there. It was in there still, though. Seinfeld was in there.
And then was that still when it was... what's the Paul Reiser terrible movie?
No. They moved... So this at this point, so at this point in Must See TV, they had moved Mad About You and Frasier to Tuesday to try to create Must See TV Part 2 with Mad About You at 7 and Frasier at 8.
Wait, when was Buffy on though?
I think we ate dinner then at like 7:30. So I don't know.
But that was on the CW.
So it Must See TV at this point, according to which I'll just take over.
Sure, yeah, you did. That's
It'd be Friends, Jesse, Seinfeld, Veronica's Closet, and ER.
Veronica's Closet.
Jesse. What was Jesse?
Yeah, what was
that?
Jesse?
Was with Christina Applegate living in Buffalo.
She had a cute Cuban boyfriend. And also, Alicia and I were Googling YouTube clips of Must See TV promos, and it was like, at 7, Will, Ross, and Rachel get together. You'll have to tune in to find out. And at 7:30, Union Square. And at 8, Seinfeld. And
I was like, wait, did he just mention another show in 2 seconds?
It was like under his
idea.
breath.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a show called Union Square for a half a minute.
Do you guys want to watch that on YouTube after the podcast?
For mine, I'll tell you guys what were the top 10 shows.
That was on.
That was like the pre-community.
Number 10 was Home Improvement. Number 9 was the CBS Sunday Movie, which apparently people cared about at that point. 8, Touched by an Angel.
Oh my gosh.
7, 60 Minutes. 6, Jesse.
Wow.
5, Veronica's Closet. 4, Monday Night Football. 3, Frasier. 2, Friends. Number 1, ER.
Yes, I win.
I do feel like I was a little surprised that ER beat Friends.
Yeah, that doesn't seem right.
I feel like Friends wins in the long game of cultural significance, unless you count Clooney.
George Clooney.
When did he die? Did he die?
Significance.
Collective Clooney died.
He didn't die.
Or move away.
He moved to like Seattle or something.
Right.
Maybe he moved
in that in 98.
That's what I'm saying. And he left, and they lost the crown.
But it was by about 2 million viewers. So average audience was like 17.5 million viewers per episode for ER, and Friends was about 15. So it was quite a significant drop. But anyway,
dethroned.
Do you have a pie chart or anything you'd like to?
Yeah. So anyway, I would say my favorite show of the year was Union Square.
Well, obviously,
mine was Veronica's Closet.
You like Jesse?
Oh yeah, not as much as ER.
So I'm concerned about your top 10 list because there's no Seinfeld in it, which seems really weird.
Because it was only half a year.
Yeah,
it didn't count.
And the winter.
Yeah, half a year, yeah.
But you can still say that was your favorite show.
Well,
it was on.
Yeah, I mean, definitely watched Seinfeld. Definitely watched a lot of baseball with McGuire.
Big Mac, yeah.
You watched a lot of.
She called me on her cell phone, and we
right. She asked you
which
where
I'm sure you remember too. My favorite, the best thing about that was
she called you on her Nokia 6120.
Right.
But the best thing about that was when Mac hit 62, it just barely cleared the wall in left field, and it was like...
It's like his weakest home run.
It was like his weakest home run of the year, and it was like, oh, I guess, woo! Or,
I was at Busch Stadium for 61.
Nice.
I was there for 61, and it was not I guess, woo.
Oh, yeah, he knocked it, but the big one was like a long double, basically.
Do you think the big one's maybe 70?
That's the one everyone cared about. Like, that was nationally broadcast, that game.
62.
62. It was
62.
a big deal.
I didn't get the car.
That was a big deal.
62.
Yeah. 70 was a monster one. The rest of them were, but like 62 was like this, basically a long
It was
double.
a rocket. I mean, it was.
I feel like if you took steroids, then you could hit really far home runs.
Yeah.
Whoa, slow down.
Wait, no.
Haven't you heard about his
what kind of
elbow? I don't
podcast
think it'd be okay.
That's right.
I'm raging right now.
So then the other thing is I definitely watched a ton of hockey, and especially the world champion Detroit Red Wings.
Boo.
Go Red Wings! Forever.
Take that stuff north of here.
All right, Beth. What was your favorite TV show?
I watched Felicity with Carrie Russell.
Yeah. That first season was
How did
great.
it
I was
feel
such
when
a Noel.
Felicity.
Was this
So good until she cut her hair, right?
When she cut her hair, that was a big thing.
Oh, that's
It ended the season.
Power Ranger.
What was
Yeah,
it?
Amy
was
Jo
a Power
Johnson.
Ranger.
She cut her hair.
She was the
My wife was on
Felicity.
Felicity.
Yeah.
What?
My wife moved to New York in '99, and they were doing an exterior shot, and she was in the background. Like
I
she
remember that episode.
clearly walks by, but then I was like, was it pre or post haircut? And she was like, oh, it was after the haircut. I'm like, well, it's garbage. Who cares?
Right. Who cares about you?
Nobody saw it then. Nobody saw it.
Her hair was luxurious.
It was
Luxurious,
magic.
man.
It was
I want to take a
magic.
nap in it.
What did she do with that hair? I mean, that hair.
I've got it in a box.
It's,
If you're
No,
really
she's got
interested.
it at home under her bed.
it's in the Smithsonian right next to Archie
It
Bunker's
was
chair.
collected by
Obviously.
10
It's
individuals.
Felicity's hair.
Obviously.
I went to read the doctoral thesis on the cultural things of the short hair and the Felicity hair.
Yeah.
Just went out there
Justin,
I bet she
somewhere.
found out who her real friends
I'd love to
were.
read the first half of that.
just about the long hair.
Yep, all the good stuff. Give me the good stuff.
You got to fight your way in there, Justin.
I do. Well, while I wasn't watching TV in 1998, I do have good memories of watching a show that wrapped up in '98. One of my favorite cartoons, Animaniacs.
Good work. Good work.
The Warner
I remember that was on
Brothers.
after,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, in the afternoon.
Your cousins enjoy that quite a bit, and they were really dismayed whenever it left Netflix. They were like searching for it with their Roku remote, like,
Yeah.
what the
They
heck?
had to make room for Friends somehow.
Right.
Yeah. They had to
They
make
paid
room
$1
for
billion
Friends. The money they
The
spent for
money.
Friends. It was $5 for Animaniacs when they had to spend $1 million for Friends.
I was obviously watching a lot of Cardinals baseball that year with Big Mac, but so instead I will say that was the first season of the Drew Carey Whose Line Is It Anyway.
That's good.
And I was a big fan. Like when I was a kid, I was a big fan of the British one. I liked Colin and I liked Ryan. And then when it came on, I was never a huge Drew Carey fan, but I was like, this Wayne Brady sure can sing a dance, huh? That was like the first time
And
I
your
saw
grandma
him.
was like, sure thing, son.
I know.
I enjoy him as well.
Have a Werther's.
It was. It really was. I watched it with I had like my brothers were like super young, so I couldn't watch most things. My brothers were like 2 and 5, but we could watch Whose Line because it's very clean. So
Yeah.
I watched a lot of that, and I was like, wow, this is actually pretty good.
I do feel like whenever that show came on, it sort of opened my mind to like, Drew Carey isn't like just this guy on a show.
This haircut with
other
a
thing.
chin, yeah. I was like, he's not terrible.
Yeah, it did make me feel
Yeah.
like he was maybe a little cooler than he was when he had that show. I don't know why.
Yeah, I never liked his show, but on Whose Line I was like, oh, well, he just has to like push a button and like,
Right.
tell
Make
people
fun
to
of
do
people, yeah.
things.
No, I liked his show. I'm not saying I didn't like his show.
I did not like his show.
His show was fine. It was fine. If everybody,
I liked it.
yeah.
I liked his show. Gary.
So I was looking at what was on the air, and I saw that Mr. Show ended in '98. So that's my take. Mr. Show with Bob and David.
Oh wow, you get
it's so good.
Gary, you get the cool points.
Hey,
you got the cool points.
But was anybody on that show on Union Square?
Bob Odenkirk and David Cross.
Oh, weird. They were busy.
So, hi everybody, it's me, Eric. I'm here to tell you the next category on the show will be concerts. Now, it may surprise you to learn that this is still a category.
It does surprise me.
Because last year, it was a real flat tire on the podcast. Because nobody had anything except for like 3 people. And so it's fine. It'll be real fast, and then we'll go to break.
Okay.
So, no pressure, everybody. If you didn't go to a concert or you didn't wish you'd gone to a concert, it's fine.
Let me go. I got a good one.
I have a good one, too. Maybe that's why
it's a category. Did you go to Beasties? Beastie Boys in the Round, man.
Yeah.
That was the show. I'm sure some people were there. They were at Keel. They were touring on Hello Nasty. Tribe Called Quest opened up, which was super big because everyone was hoping that Q-Tip would come out and Get It Together with the Beastie Boys for the encore, which they did.
Yeah.
Which was awesome. And also,
Paul and I were there.
Yeah, that's my concert.
That's the concert, man. That was
I'm gonna go ditto to
that was all the cool kids. That was like I saw all these people you knew in line, and that must have been like the least amount of security because I saw a bong in the concert. Like I saw a couple of like that's a goddamn bong, like not like a little one. I was like, did you just bring that in here?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was the Beastie Boys, and I think I bought 4 T-shirts at the concert stand. Like that was before you could get like a T-shirt online. I was like, wow, I will take all of the Beastie Boys T-shirts. That was like the pinnacle. That was a good show.
Yeah, that's one of my oldest concert T-shirts that I still have.
Wow, mine are like disintegrated. That's awesome.
Yeah, Sam stole my
It was real
t-shirt.
thick. It was back
Still
in the
mad
day when
that
T-shirts were thick.
Yeah, the good material.
Sam stole it?
Yeah, he stole it. He stayed over one night and then he stole my T-shirt because he needed a T-shirt.
I'll show it to you on the break, Cap.
Wow. I bought like the jersey. It said Joe and Tony's Barbershop on it. It was like a basketball jersey. And I wore that till it fell off of me. It was super cool.
Like that PG Harvey T-shirt.
Yep. Yeah. Disintegrate them, man. Till they fall off.
You only love an artist if their T-shirt disintegrates.
Yeah, pretty much, man. True fan.
Justin?
I have an answer for this because I didn't come here to just say pass 10 times.
Yeah! In it to win it, Q.
I said I would have loved to see Jimmy Page and Robert Plant play at the Keel Center on June 7th.
Yeah.
Ooh, nice. Dates.
I wouldn't have minded that.
Yeah.
Beth?
Well said.
I would have loved to have seen Pearl Jam, but I was broke.
Pearl Jam in '98.
They did tour that year. I don't think they were here,
And
but
that
she
was
could
like
have
the-
seen them elsewhere.
That was like the fight with Ticketmaster years.
Yeah,
it was
it
after
was.
that. It was after that.
It
Oh,
was.
they were still
It
fighting.
was after.
It
No,
was
they
the
weren't.
Yield years, so they were done with
yeah,
that.
that's right. Yeah.
And I know that because I saw them twice. In
Stealing that thunder! Stealing that thunder!
In Canada?
No, at Michigan State University, and then in Auburn Hills, so in Detroit, basically. So
Do
I
you
saw
have
them.
like a journal of your concerts? You always know.
I usually save ticket stubs, but
Pile of stubs, baby.
I don't have those for whatever reason. But I definitely remember it. So I saw them twice in 1 week. Iggy Pop opened one.
Oh, cool.
Cheap Trick opened the other. And then I also saw Aerosmith that year, which was actually pretty good. It was a good show. I mean, they did like a good mix of all their stuff. So then that was actually a free ticket.
I would see Aerosmith live.
Yeah, they were good. It was a free ticket.
Screw you guys.
Somebody
They
gave
just
me
played I
tickets.
Don't Want to Miss a Thing 10 times in a row. And
Yeah, I don't remember them playing that.
it was the number one song for like half the year.
I might have blocked it out. And
Rightly
then the concert I wish I would have saw would be U2, the Pop Mart tour.
Yeah. I think I probably told my Pop Mart story last year.
Yeah.
Which I got
I know.
screwed out of going to it. Anyway, I was at the Beastie Boys show, and it was epic. It was August 8th. 1998 at
That
the Kiel
summer,
Center. Yeah, end of the summer. And it was super awesome. In the round.
And Paul got a T-shirt.
I was also there.
I think I drove you, Paul.
Yep, I think so. Which was pointless because I did not use the bong that was there or anything.
None of us used the bong. We could have all driven. We should have all driven.
There was a lot of
we shared a soda.
Although I will say, from that concert, I learned I would still rather go to a small concert. Like, it was a cool concert, but I would this would be much cooler if I was at a small place.
Yeah, it's much better to be at a super small show up close or be super rich at a large show.
Right, we were up in the bleachers on the side.
That was bleachers. And it was general admission anyway, so like even if you were close, that meant you got there like 4 hours before the door opened.
So I really liked it, but I was really far away. So there's maybe I want to go to that. For me, since then I don't go to the big concerts. I go to those small.
Yeah,
at least a pageant or smaller.
I saw Bob Dylan and Paul Simon at a concert, and I sometimes forget that I was there because I just watched it on the television,
on the Jumbotron. Yeah,
and I was like, well, I didn't want to watch this on TV. I forgot about it. Yeah, anyway.
I want to thank Justin because I was going to pass, but I was at Plant and Page. Which I forgot.
Do you want to punch
looking
him?
up 98 concerts.
Do you want to punch him? Kind of?
It was awesome. I was there with Bill Rombach and Jeff Rombach, who some of you may know.
Yeah, I do.
It was very, very great. I was going to do something lame like Simon and Dylan, but that was 99.
Yeah.
That was good. But
was it?
I was there too.
Yeah.
Keith Miggy was there.
Bobby can't sing anymore.
So thank you, Justin.
Bob Dylan could sing?
He could.
60s maybe.
He could.
I mean, I feel like that's a weird thing to level at Bob Dylan. I mean, I feel like he's always sort of skated on being a genius lyricist. Okay.
So me, Amanda, my first concert as a grown-up was that year where I bought the tickets and I went with my own money that I earned at my job, and I went to see Tori Amos from the Choir Girl Hotel.
Choir Girl Hotel.
Yeah.
I saw that tour. That was a good one.
I cried a whole lot, and it was at the Ryland Auditorium, as it should be, because it was like church, and she opened with Precious Things, and I will never forget that piano banging away, and it's still right now gets me all
You're
excited.
about to cry now.
Right now, no. It was
I'm not joking.
such a good concert. Such a good concert to do.
Well, that's the bet that she wins.
Yeah, you win.
I'm so glad you got to go to that.
So you can't send everybody else talking.
MCA is dead, okay? It's the Beastie Boys.
That's true.
They'll never tour.
You're not going to see the Beastie Boys.
They're done. That's it.
Nope. You and I saw them.
I was awesome there.
Right, I know. I don't remember any big concerts of that year, but as I said earlier, this was the year I turned 21, and I had a boyfriend at the time who played in a swing dance band, Hudson and the Hoodoo Cats.
Oh, that was the thing.
Yeah, that was totally the thing.
Yeah.
So I spent a lot of weekends
Played in Big Bang
bars.
Voodoo Daddies.
Yeah.
He played in a Cherry Poppin' Daddy's
I was not
cover
a dancer,
band.
but because I was, always there and with the band, a lot of the people who would always come and dance would I'll teach you some steps. This is the Lindy
You
Hop
were the
or
good
whatever.
sport, yeah.
I would just get out there just to have fun. But but I was not good by any means.
20 years later, if you said I was at a bar swinging, they would mean something totally different.
Right, and then I would ask them, do you know my name?
Yeah.
Paul, do you remember what was that band that had all the people in it? Lots of people in it?
Mighty Boston.
Mighty Boston.
No, more people. It was
Polyphonic
Squirrel
Spree.
Nut Zippers.
Squirrel Nut Zippers.
North
Squirrel
Carolina.
Nut Zippers were at the
got
Blue
that
Note.
before Paul.
Squirrel Nut Zippers were at the Blue Note for free.
Right.
Do you remember this?
Yeah.
Was that 98 or 99?
I don't. That's the problem with these
I would say it's probably
concerts.
99 though.
It
They
could
were.
have been
It was.
97,
It was a
actually.
fire hazard thing. It was it was for free. It was everybody's done with college kind of a thing where the Mizzou paid for it.
Oh my gosh.
And it was they could not keep people from getting into the show. I think that was 99.
Yeah, that was the big swing year, was 99.
Yeah. Everybody wore those bowling shirts.
Yep.
Like swingers.
Hey, this is a big preview for next year's.
Save it for next year.
Lauren's gonna dance.
Swingers came out in 96, I thought.
I know, but it was
St.
a
of the
Louis.
curve.
That's right. We're low.
Okay.
We're slow.
I'm going to pass.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm sure you did fun stuff.
I don't remember anything.
I'm sure you
Nothing
did
fun.
fun stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, you
I'm gonna
kinda
pass this one.
So I have a terrible memory for exact years and stuff, and I don't keep my stubs, but I think that I saw the Indigo Girls with a bunch of girls, and it was really fun. I mean, I know I did, but I think it was 1998. That was cool at the Fox.
What was so great about it?
That wasn't that year.
Wow. Okay, well, let's say it was, though.
Okay, then.
All
That's
right.
more like every year.
We're going to break.
Yeah, okay.
Woo! What did Gary want to
Does
say his
Gary
concert?
Oh,
No, I don't have a concert. That's okay.
Oh, go ahead, Gary.
I don't remember any concerts. No, I was trying to think. I remember seeing like Cake, and I don't know if that was in
97. That was,
Well, no, but it was a year after they came out with that album in '98.
no, they took
We're going to break. Hey, welcome back to my so-called Nick podcast.
Oh, my God.
I'm Eric Spiegel.
Yep, you are.
And you are?
I'm still Gary Linton, and we're still here with everybody.
Everybody, you're still here on 3.
Hey.
1, 2, 3.
Hey.
Nobody's here.
We went home.
All right. Guys, I was just playing a track from the #1 album of 1998, James Horner's Titanic soundtrack.
Yes.
That's what that is.
Number 10.
Deserving.
Number 10 was Spice World by the Spice Girls. Number 9 was Savage Garden by, you guessed it, Savage Garden.
Oh.
Number 8 was Big Willie Style.
Welcome to Miami.
Number 7, the City of Angels soundtrack.
Oh,
Yeah.
More like Poo Poo Dolls.
Number 6, Yourself or Someone Like You by Matchbox 20.
Oh, man.
Oh, so deep.
Number
Wow.
5, Come On Over by Shania Twain.
Oh, yeah.
Number 4, Backstreet Boys, Eponymous.
I hear they're back. All
Number
right.
3, Sevens by Garth Brooks.
Oh, yeah.
Number 2, Let's Talk About Love by Celine Dion. The number 2 album of the year that had My Heart Will Go On it. Because number 1 also had My Heart Will Go On it, because it was that Titanic soundtrack. And that's the number 2 albums of the year. I don't think we're going to hear any more about any of those as we talk about our favorite albums of the year, starting with Gary.
Okay. So I kind of have kind of a asterisk because in 1998 I probably would have said Jesus and Mary Chain's Monkey was the best album in 1998. But now it is hands down In the Airplane Over the Sea by Neutral Milk Hotel. Everybody else is wrong.
Except for me, because that's what I was going to say, too.
Right. Well, this is going to be an OK Computer thing.
Right.
So what would you say if you weren't going to say In an Airplane Over the Sea?
That's why I said Monkey by Jason Perry.
Okay, so I was also seriously considering giving the award to Mermaid Avenue.
Oh, yeah.
We'll
It's
do
good.
that.
Good
That's a good one.
idea.
Yeah.
Good idea.
What, Alicia? Could you speak up?
They heard me. You were listening. Mermaid Avenue.
But Nan?
So I actually had this album, The Miseducation of.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
So I'm putting that one down because that's
Miseducation.
Of Lauryn Hill.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I just kind of like.
That was the big Drake
You
sample
just said
this year, man.
The Miseducation. You're like,
I
just
should know that.
just everybody know.
Yeah, so that's what I'm going to go with.
Yeah, that's a great album.
It's a good album. I listened to it today and it was.
It's
still
still
good.
good.
Poor Lauryn Hill.
What happened to Lauryn Hill?
She's still late. She hasn't shown up yet.
Well, I think she has tax issues too. So that's why she's poor.
She was at Lou Fest. That's probably why she didn't get paid last year.
Right,
Did she show up?
I heard they asked her to do the Super Bowl this year, and she said no, which is mind-blowing.
Is that
Right.
her or
That's
Rihanna?
not true.
No. They ask a bunch of people to do
You're
it. but
thinking of Rihanna.
They ask a bunch of people, but they ask her, and it's the NFL, like, you know, Colin Kaepernick. Like Kaepernick, they're all against that, but she said no, and I'm like, Lauryn Hill's like not busy, right?
Right, but I could see her saying no, a la Colin Kaepernick.
Sure, good for her, but also I was like, you should probably do that, right?
Right, like if they asked Nicolas Cage to do the Super Bowl halftime show,
I'm
he
in.
should probably do it.
I'm double.
He should just
that.
act out the bathroom scene for Mandy.
You are speaking my language. Don't get me
Lauren?
Well,
you're on a radio.
so the album that I was listening to in '98 that I remember was it actually came out in '97. It was Erykah Badu, and it was a live album that was released like in November of '97. But
We'll allow it.
I was playing it.
I can
in
hear
98.
her fine.
I was playing it a lot in '98. I was also in kind of doing the research though. Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. I agree. I actually still own that CD to this day. But still listen to it on Amazon. I don't know why I didn't. I don't have anything that plays those anymore.
Yeah.
But that one also, Beastie Boys, Hello Nasty.
Hello,
Yeah.
Nasty.
Yeah.
Good one.
I saw them in concert.
Wait, what now? You were the guy with the ball.
Oh, it's me, Amanda. So my favorite album of 1998, and still one of my favorites of all time, is "Living in Clip" by Ani DiFranco.
Double disc.
With the best song, which is "Both Hands," done with a symphony orchestra.
Oh man,
Doesn't get better
that's
than that.
So good.
Yeah,
So that's my 1998 moment.
So 1999, I saw Ani DiFranco, and it was awesome. So thank you for bringing that up to allow me to say that. But Alicia, you are totally correct. Mermaid Avenue was the best album of 1998.
It's tied. Sorry.
Okay, then you're somewhat correct. It is the best album of 1998, and still one of my favorite albums.
Yeah.
It's a good album, Jim, but
It's no also what I picked the same thing as Gary, which is the Neutral Milk Hotel album. Yes, and Alicia. And
Tell the story about how we saw them in concert.
we did see them in concert. It was okay. So we're old, Eric and I, and we forgot that we bought tickets to this concert.
Because you had to buy them super early.
Right, and so but Eric,
This is a
fortunately,
few years ago.
he set a reminder, and then it's like 15 minutes before the concert started. It's like, and Eric, please be at the concert. He calls me up and says, "Paul, do you want to go to the concert?" And there was a long pause. Because I was in my pajamas, I was comfortable, I was settled down, and I went, and then we went, and it was amazing, and he sounded just like the album, and I'm so glad I did. But
If you didn't go, I might have gotten to go. So.
I'm
Way to
so
go,
glad
Paul.
I went. It was great.
It was good. It was really good. They played the whole An Aeroplane by the Sea album.
They did, and they had this bearded guy there that was pretty cool. So he
a
played
bearded
lots of-
guy?
Yeah, he was like super big beard, white, and
Out.
white beard like Santa Claus, and he was playing every instrument.
Nice.
So they're like, we don't have a guy that plays this weird thing that's in this song. He would do it.
So if I lived in a world where Neutral Milk Hotel did not release in An Aeroplane by the Sea in 1998, I would pick Elliott Smith's XO.
Oh,
They're
that's
the
good.
best
Good.
album of 1998, which I very much enjoy. Alicia's like judging me. She's like, yeah,
I just can't get into them. I don't know.
yeah.
Sorry.
So that's what I would pick, but it's clearly Neutral Milk Hotel.
Yep.
But
So I would not pick Neutral Milk Hotel because I didn't know about them until like 2005.
Well, same.
yeah,
Yeah,
me
that was
too.
me. I had to go back and.
Yeah, that album's
I was
overrated
gonna pick
anyway.
Spoon's first album,
Yeah.
but I would have been totally opposed with it.
Yeah.
So I would
Especially
I would
Metal
mention Yield by Pearl Jam. I listen to a lot for sure.
Yay! Pearl Jam!
Also Prolonging the Magic by Kate.
Oh, that's a good
And
Wait, because
Phantom Power by the Tragically Hip came out that year also, which I listened to.
Tragically Hip, yeah.
Canadians.
Canadian band.
Yeah.
Take off.
Scott's sort of from Canada.
Sort of. Close enough.
Almost.
Close enough.
Just across the lake.
I think that I know what I'm going to start 2019 with is like all these great
Yeah.
suggestions. It's so nice
Yeah.
So I loved Jeff Buckley in 1998, so Sketches for My Sweetheart the Drunk.
Oh, Jeff Buckley.
Yeah.
Nobody told him to go swimming. Nobody told him to.
So Eric, we didn't
Too
talk
soon,
about
too soon, man. Too soon.
I literally did not make a joke about cancer. I just said if I had cancer, I could watch more TV. That's all I'm saying.
Well, we hope you get
No, you
cancer.
said you wish sometimes.
Like a joke about
Yeah, I said if I had
Okay,
cancer.
okay.
You said you wished. We can
Exactly.
put it back.
On
We've
tape.
been recording that
Right, we were
recording.
That's correct.
Well, my album really speaks to my soul too. None of you have probably seen them live, but it's Hello Nasty by the Beastie Boys.
Oh, Hello Nasty.
I just make sure. Any of you heard of this?
No.
I feel like I saw somebody like that live.
Right.
Nick?
Not familiar. I was smoking this big bong.
You stuck a bong in the Kill Center. And you
There
don't
might have
remember
been some
anything else.
music. I don't recall. You were all wrong. The correct answer was Massive Attack's Mezzanine. By far the best. One of the best albums of the 90s. And trivia, one of the worst episodes of this podcast because you guys didn't even listen to the album. You barely talked about it.
No. That's not the one we didn't listen to, was it?
I listened to it. I remember. I saw it come up, and I said, "Oh, they're going to talk about Massive
No,
Attack."
it was the tricky.
I was on that
Pre-Millennium Tension we didn't listen to.
yeah,
No,
Nick
I was on that one. You listened to that one, but then on that episode, I was like, "Oh, also you didn't listen to Massive Attack," and you were like, "Well."
Do we talk about the House theme song?
I think that's mostly what we talked about, and I was like, "This is like the best album," but it is still the best album. It's
We were too anxious to get to Sliding Doors, so we're going to talk about Mezzanine.
Yeah, that's a good album. I liked it.
Massive Attack, Mezzanine, way better Neutral Mills.
You don't have to pit them against.
That is a fact. It's a fact.
I feel like the crowd here disagrees.
I will fight every one of you. Starting with Gary.
Okay, fair enough.
Gary, the next thing we're going to talk about is the worst movie of 1993.
The worst movie of 1993. I went with... See, I had a couple of options, and I'm going to go with Godzilla. I think is the worst movie of 1993.
That one was terrible.
I guess I want to get it in, honorable mention, The Avengers.
Don't say more than one. There's a lot of us
You
here.
already stole one. You
Okay, that's fine.
At the plot of Godzilla was, at the end of it, the French special forces defeat a monster, and I'm like, the French special forces couldn't defeat themselves.
Surrender monkeys.
Surrender monkeys. I was watching it like, you're kidding, right? Like, that's who defeats Godzilla, not Mothra or somebody.
I still feel like it's weird that Gary doesn't feel like The Avengers was a good movie. I mean, Joss Whedon made it.
I guess I had.
terrible.
I mean, if you want to talk
Terrible.
about it, I had high expectations going into it, and pretty disappointed. It was pretty dumb. I mean, Eddie Izzard was in it, so.
I feel like whenever Iron Man fought what's his name, Thor in the forest, that was pretty great.
We're talking about the different Avengers.
Different Avengers, man. I will say the worst movie, 1998, was The Man in the Iron Mask.
Oh.
I was like, wait a minute. Like, so Leonardo DiCaprio's in it, but his face is covered the whole time? And also Gerard Depardieu's in it, and his face isn't covered? That's a decent, book, but the movie was terrible. It was terrible.
Disagree.
You liked it?
Seen it.
Yeah,
It's a terrible movie. Terrible movie.
maybe I should watch it again.
I mean, why would you cover Leonardo DiCaprio's face, man?
It
That's
did
the
win-
money.
it
More
did-
than just a pretty face.
It did win the Golden Raspberry for worst couple, Leonardo DiCaprio and
Leonardo DiCaprio. I know, right?
I did research.
But how fun is it to say Gerard Depardieu?
It's fun.
It's
way funner than looking at him. Is my point.
He's not an ugly man.
He was a beautiful man until he got old and fat and moved to Russia.
He's French.
He's French. You're making my point for me here.
Is
man.
that Russian
The
thing?
French can't do
Like
anything.
that
They
doesn't
do.
don't move to Russia. You'll be so.
Justin?
Well, my movie is not only the worst, but is the most unnecessary movie of this year, and that is the remake of Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho.
Oh.
Vince Vaughn as Norman Bates.
And Heche.
Yeah.
Oof.
The whole point is you're supposed to be upset that Anne Heche dies, and I was like, I'm good with it. It's cool.
Yeah,
I'd stab her too.
The whole point was that Gus Van Sant took the word remake literally.
Literally.
It was
shot for shot, man.
Same
Shot for
movie.
shot.
I mean,
There was that one
daring.
part.
I mean, looking back on it, you think about it, like, could he have made a Psycho remake that would have been accepted by anyone?
Yeah.
And so he decided, I'll just make the same movie, which is an interesting choice.
like the most complex character. Let's have Vince Vaughn in his phase of no. I can be dramatic. I'm not
true.
funny.
That's bad casting. But Bill Macy's in it.
Yeah.
It was
Julianne
daring
Moore's
in the
in that,
sense,
too.
like, I dare you to take a dump in public. You know? Daring.
That is daring. Beth?
I also said Psycho, and I don't want to talk about
Taking a dump?
right.
So I was looking at the movies in 1998 and felt like I didn't see a lot of movies that year, but definitely Godzilla sucked.
Yep.
And then I also saw Very Bad Things, which I don't remember much about, but I remember saying they should have called it Very Bad Movie.
Oh, that's very good. Look at that.
Very good.
Little film critic.
Cameron Diaz was in that, right?
Maybe.
Yeah, so it had the same plot as some other movies where a bunch of guys go on a
Like a
bachelor party,
yeah.
and they accidentally kill
that
the
movie.
hooker.
Right.
Oh, it's like that movie
Right.
Bachelor Party with Tom Hanks.
Right.
Where they
Kind of
accidentally
like
kill the hooker.
Hangover.
No
a little
donkey.
bit.
No
The
donkey.
horse dies.
Right.
Right. Anyway, so the whole movie is they bury her, and then tears their friendship apart.
Yes.
The guy who
Always
directed the movie,
Unfortunate.
Peter Berg, has gone on to make other films. Not any of them not that great.
No.
Anyway, my worst movie of the year is an interesting anecdote. Everybody settle down because I'm about to tell an interesting anecdote.
Get
It's a
comfortable.
hallmark of my so-called podcast. Suck it up. It's my
Jerry,
podcast.
can you sigh before this starts?
So, all my friends and I ironically liked pop culture when we were in college. Yes, we ironically liked pop culture. And one of the things we most ironically liked, other than Hanson, was the Spice Girls. And one of the things that we liked about them was that they were catchy, but also ridiculous. And we made our own video of Two Become One starring 20-year-old boys on a VHS camera.
Wow.
Is that the worst movie? Your whole movie is the worst movie?
Alicia, I'm not even close to done talking.
We need to see it.
You know this.
Oh, I've seen it.
So much more to the story.
It exists. It's wonderful. But we all love the Spice Girls. We thought they were such a hilarious thing that existed in the world. And it turned out they were going to have their own feature film called Spice World. In sort of a homage to A Hard Day's Night, they made a feature-length film that sucked. That took place in England. It was
A Hard Day's Night.
it was released in January 1998, so just got in under the wire. And all of our friends from the dorms, we were like, we're going to go see Spice World in a theater, and it's going to be a ruckus, amazing good time. And we all sat down in the movie theater, and everybody was being ruckus, as we were wont to do. And then the manager came out and said, all right, guys, I know that it's the Spice Girls movie, but there are paying customers here, so settle down. And we did. We settled down. And it was totally killed the movie for us, which was terrible. Worst movie of 1998.
Well, we walked out after like half an hour.
I think halfway through the movie we did leave because we were like,
So have
we
you
can't be
finished
ruckus.
watching it?
No.
So then you don't know.
It might be amazing.
It could have turned around.
We weren't ruining it
So
for like
you
all
are
the little
saying
girls.
that Godzilla got better whenever there were little Godzillas in Madison Square Garden.
I said Godzilla was the worst movie, and I have proof because I watched it to the end.
All right, Gary, watch Spice World and tell me I'm wrong.
Okay.
Watch it for the podcast. I challenge you.
All right, well, I'll go real quick. I saw the Spice Girls movie, and I also saw Godzilla, but if you have a Godzilla movie where they only have 14 minutes of Godzilla, it's a horrible movie.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, it's like, at the end, it's a bunch of velociraptors. They're not Godzilla.
I went to go see Godzilla, and I saw 14 minutes of it.
Not a lot of Godzilla.
Horrible.
Bad.
But that Puff Daddy song was good, at least.
No, it wasn't. Ask Jimmy Page and Robert Plant about that song.
I'll save it. I'll save that.
God, yeah.
I pass.
Okay. My turn. I'm going to say Ants was the worst one because that was Bug's Life all the way.
Oh, Bug's Life.
Enough said. Do you have a tattoo or something?
Maybe.
So not that Woody Harrelson movie. Wasn't that the guy in the dance?
Woody Allen.
That's Woody
Woody
Allen.
Allen, sorry.
Woody Harrelson.
So Woody.
Celebrity's a very bad movie, though,
He was
too.
in Toy Story.
It is bad.
Yeah, very bad.
I'm Kenneth Branagh. I'm Woody Allen.
Exactly.
I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
So when you guys brought up Psycho and Anne Heche, it made me remember there was a movie that she was in that was like this kind of big deal at the time. I think it was right around when she and Ellen broke up. That's that deserted island one, 6 days and 7 nights. I Googled it.
Yeah.
With Han Solo.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Right. And People magazine said that Harrison Ford was the sexiest man alive
Of
at
the
age
year.
55.
Yes.
And Anne Heche was like 26 at the time.
Right.
Grody.
Yes.
Were they dating in the movie?
Yeah, they were in a plane, like on a deserted
I have a
island,
tattoo that says
trapped,
Grody.
and yeah, it's just
Where is it?
I think that's
You're making me
So I'm like, it was just in the I barely remember it, but I remembered as soon as I said her name, like, oh, that movie.
Yeah, it's
The weird thing
awful.
about
It's
Anne
worse
Heche
than what
was
you had in
in
mind.
96 and 97, she was about to explode
Yes.
being like the most like it girl
She absolutely
of
was.
Halloween. Of Hollywood. And then in 98 it was like Psycho and 6 Days, 7 Nights, and everybody's like, check please.
Yeah, no that
What's
city.
Ellen doing now?
She's really not done much with her life.
Ellen's
Right.
number 3 most rich person in Hollywood.
And the number 1 most known LGBTQIA person in the world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's nothing.
Yeah.
She's not done well for herself.
But Nan, how about you,
So
girl?
I was going to say the Avengers.
Oh, you can still say it.
I'm going to say
No,
it.
Gary, she can't.
It's too late.
Because you snuck it in as your number 2.
But I am also going to say Sphere because I don't remember a lot about that movie, but I remember not liking it, and that feeling is still
The Michael Crichton book was really good, and the movie was really terrible.
really bad. And
Yeah,
that's what remember
I will
about it.
sneak in there and
Such a
say
good
that
source
I
material.
wanted to say Sphere too because it was such a disappointment.
Yeah,
because the book is so good and you read it and you're like, this would be a great movie.
and then they
turns
whiffed.
out
They totally whiffed.
not so much.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's what I'm going to go with.
It's a really good book though.
it is a really good book. And you're watching the movie, and you're like, so Queen Latifah's a scientist?
And you're like, Sharon Stone is the most famous whatever in the
Yeah,
world.
it was really bad.
That's not the problem. Is the casting. That's not the problem.
There was a lot of problems.
I don't know what the problem is, but it's bad. I agree with you.
Yeah, terrible,
It's
terrible movie.
Terrible. And I'm not going to rewatch it to find out.
But it's real. It's a real
Coming up next week on My So-Called Podcast.
Sphere and
Loathing.
Sphere and Loathing in St. Louis.
I'm in.
Okay, I gotta say, There's Something About Mary was the worst movie.
Yeah!
I like that one.
That movie's funny.
That was good.
I agree.
All right. I didn't hate it at the time.
I mean, I
didn't think
don't,
it was
but I do.
good.
Yeah.
But I've seen snippets of it afterwards, and it just makes me cringe. It's awful.
No.
Yeah, it's good. Oh,
It's funny.
Don't,
It's
don't,
That
yeah.
may be the
It's
one movie I
stupid
saw
funny.
that year. Yeah.
I mean, the Brett Favre joke alone. I mean,
Yeah, I agree. That's a good
So
joke.
we're going. So guys, the next thing is worst song. Worst song of the year, which starts with Gary.
Okay.
Say one thing, Gary.
All right, that's fine. I guess I'm gonna go with song that really grated on me and still does is "Believe" by Cher.
Oh,
Can I play?
Yeah, I've never liked it.
Jerry, if you pick it, you have to sing it.
Okay.
Can we auto-tune it?
That was good.
That was like the first auto-tune I ever heard. I was like, this sounds like a robot.
I think that might have been the first on-purpose auto-tune.
Yeah, like it sounded like a robot, and I was like, this is...
Where it wasn't auto-tuned to be in tune, it was auto-tuned to sound weird.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, yeah, it was a thing. She was going for something.
It annoyed me. So.
Yeah.
Alicia?
I didn't really pick a bad song because I'm a very positive person.
Oh my god. But
No, I didn't.
So I have a few, but I don't know which one is the worst.
Give one to Alicia.
Which one?
I did kind
Yeah,
of
she
look
looked
at her
over,
paper,
yeah.
at her notes, and I wanted to say the Goo Goo Dolls, whatever that is there.
The
Yeah,
one week one.
I pretty
Yeah,
much hate
whatever.
that.
What by
The
the Goo
Iris.
Dolls.
Sorry, I had that too.
That one by the Goo Dolls, says Alicia.
Oh,
It's
no, I don't
confusing.
like it.
Lyrics.
Any
I'll
of the Goo
say
Dolls.
Agree.
So I'm not a fan of that. So I
Thanks
have
for letting me
Iris.
steal
No,
that.
it's okay. You can have. And so I also have "When You Believe" by Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey. I really hate that song.
How does that
Oh,
go?
When you believe,
And the
something
Prince of
like that.
Egypt.
Yeah, it's the Prince of Egypt song.
really good.
I don't know that.
No.
It's not. I thought it was going to be good, and it was not.
I remember my friends were
So
going to
disappointed.
go see the Prince of Egypt, but they were watching the impeachment trials on TV, and they were like, "We have tickets to go see the movie, but we want to keep watching the impeachment." I was like, decisions. I don't care about either one of these things.
I don't really have one. I don't know. Nothing really rubbed me.
Just say Goo Goo Dolls.
Goo Goo
just-
Dolls. It's
yeah,
definitely
we'll
Goo
take
Goo
a
Dolls.
Yeah, Goo Goo Dolls.
I'm gonna go with "This Kiss" by Faith Hill.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
mine! That was
That's
mine!
right.
Terrible.
So
That
good.
song
Sing.
is terrible.
I'll be your crying shoulder.
That's a bad
Keep
song.
going.
Very. I can't even keep going. Can't do it.
Keep going. I don't know what that is.
Edwin McCain. I'll be.
Oh, he's real CW.
Earnest.
Alicia, whenever she really wants to put down some sort of singer-songwriter, she's like, "That's real WB," but it's become CW. She's like, "That
I said
guy's pretty
CW.
WB kind of for me."
That's my way of insulting a song. Yeah.
So that was yours, Jim. Okay. So mine, I'm not going to sing mine. You can sing
You can.
mine. But
You're a
I
good
am.
singer, Paul.
It actually came out in '97, but hit the charts in '98. So
That's
am I
fine,
allowed to
we'll
say
take it.
We'll allow it.
No, just
So "Sex and Candy" by Marcy Playground.
No.
No, he sounds like he
that's a
just
good
barely
memory,
woke up to
though.
say what his song. I love sex and candy.
That's on purpose.
Yeah, but it's I hate that.
It's not
Come
a
on,
good
try it.
memory.
It's a
I
lazy.
agree with you.
It's a lazy song.
It's a lazy song.
It's a
And why is there a
subjective
spider in
category.
the music
Well,
video? It
reminds
doesn't make
you
any
of
sense.
Randy from the Dorm. You guys had that
I
song.
want sex with Randy.
Well, true.
You wanted
That's
to be
great.
there. It was cute.
That's great, but the song it just drove me crazy. There's
Yeah,
no
it's
energy.
so-
at
or,
all.
you know, it was low energy, but he was like high energy, like disco lemonade.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
You should be shouting disco
It's-
lemonade.
Right,
Why are
it's
you
just
pouting it?
nothing.
It's
Just
like a Nirvana song without the distortion.
It's like he
or the
oozed out a
I
song.
hated
That's
that
why I
song.
didn't like it.
And they played it a lot.
They did
They
play
did.
that.
They played that like
Played
a lot.
Yeah.
Like if they hadn't played it as much, maybe
lot.
they would have
So much.
So mine goes. Ba, 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 ba,
Oh no.
ba, ba, ba. Make them
going.
say,
Oh.
na 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 ba ba ba. Make them say, na 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 na.
Master E is killing it over there.
That's
Yeah,
not the song
you're
I
welcome.
thought you were gonna say.
That's the worst song of 1998.
That's
Master
how the rest of
B's.
it go.
That is
That-
no,
that-
make them say,
Isn't he not a tank in the music video?
There's a tank
Yeah,
and there's like
he is a
people dumping
tank.
in slow motion.
Master P.
Okay.
Master P.
No, he's having a seizure now. For those at home, he's
Na 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 na.
Google some Master
He's like the predecessor to Little John. I don't know why you're so mad at him.
No, that's the best song. I'm coming this way with you. So,
I think that ruined my hearing. So, I mentioned I saw Aerosmith in 1998, and then
that was my other song.
I may have
It's a bad song.
blocked out if they played I Don't Want to Miss a Thing, but I
Sure they did.
super hate that song. I hated it the first
pretty
time
bad.
I heard it, and I like Aerosmith.
It was on my list. It was
but
on my
just,
list.
just an awful, terrible song, and I think it killed them basically.
I
They
would
were-
stay awake just to hear you breathe out.
I gotta go now.
That was also they got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that year, and they played that song at their induction, and I was like, this should be disqualifying.
Watch you
And it was
smile when you're
It was Armageddon, right? But
Armageddon, yeah, it was.
That was on my list.
Which was probably not a great movie.
I was hoping for Armageddon when I heard that song. Right? That's a joke.
I don't get it.
Gary and his stand-up career.
Yep.
Right? That's a joke.
Hey.
It was a hard choice though for worst song of 1998 because there was a shit ton of.
There was a
crap.
bad. It was bad.
Most of them Goo Goo Dolls.
Yeah.
So much more.
Mostly.
So much more.
You have to dizzy up that girl.
Bev?
There was also Sheryl Crow, and she was whining about her favorite mistake.
Dude, I almost picked that as my favorite song of the year.
Oh, really?
Right?
Boring.
I really like that
It's
song a lot.
Death by a Thousand Paper Cuts.
I like that song.
It plays
Yeah, it's okay.
all over the place.
That's true.
Do you love that song?
I don't love it. It's good.
I like that song quite a
like
bit.
that song.
That's one of my favorite Sheryl Crow songs.
It's a mistake.
Your favorite?
Yeah, Slide,
Liking
Black
that,
Balloon, Iris. Yeah, the Goo Goo Dolls are horrible.
That's a fact.
Baby's like blue,
Can all
makes
agree.
a fly.
Can all agree.
Oh my god, Aaron.
No.
I can slap him when he starts. Can I slap him when he
Yes.
starts?
Justin?
Please.
It's good we're doing this after the worst movie because mine is Puff Daddy's "Come with Me."
Oh.
How does that one go?
It's Led Zeppelin and then
yeah.
Cashmere.
Puff Daddy did to Led Zeppelin what Vanilla Ice did to Queen with this song.
And what Puff Daddy did to Sting.
And what
Oh,
Puff
yeah.
Daddy did to the police.
That's right. Yeah.
Daddy,
Yeah.
come on.
Agree. Super
Is
agree.
he still a thing?
So,
No.
so
Shouldn't be.
Puff Daddy, I saw a thing where he was on MTV and they were talking to him about his inspirations or whatnot, and he said literally that he saw a Time Life classic rock best of thing on TV, and it was Kashmir by Led Zeppelin. He was like, "I'm gonna have that."
it will be mine.
That was his inspiration.
Jason
I'm
Momoa
gonna
did about
steal
Lisa
somebody
Bonet.
else's song.
Yeah. Terrible.
It's called a sample.
The worst song by far, and it's not a terrible song, but they played it to death. Is checking the China, the Chinese chicken, and your face starts sticking. That goddamn Bare Naked Ladies song. They played ad nauseum. They played ad nauseum.
It's not a bad
And
song.
No.
it wasn't terrible, but the sheer amount of times I heard that song.
More than
But,
any other
by
but
the
song.
end,
Nick,
Yeah.
how are you watching X Files with no lights on?
With the
Dans la maison.
We're dans la maison.
it's
I hope the Smoky Man is in this one.
That's not going to die either.
Harrison Ford.
Like, it comes back
Frantic.
around.
It won't die.
Like
yeah.
Sting 'em
No.
And
Tantric.
also, wasn't like didn't that come out later? Like one of the guys in Bare Naked Ladies was like a huge drug addict.
Well, he was arrested for snorting coke in Manhattan, and he got fired out of the band.
I know.
The main guy was
singer?
fired out of the band. So now it's this Bare Naked Ladies, but it doesn't have the main
It's
guy.
It
kinda-
doesn't have the
It's-
main guy, and
yeah.
also you're like of bands that I would think of as druggies. Bare Naked Ladies, low on the totem pole.
Yeah.
Right.
I was like, what?
Like,
Wacky
I feel like they're
Canadians,
mostly
come
supposed to be
on.
addicted to Capri Sun or whatnot.
Or macaroni and craft dinner or whatever, man. Like, they played that song so much. And I can't hear it. I can't hear it. If it's on, I run away from it.
I tried listening to them a few weeks ago just to see if it held up because I love them so much in 98, 97.
Yeah.
It does not hold
Did
up.
you listen to
Not-
Stunt or
Yeah, Stunt
Better?
and Maroon. Like those first two, the ones that
So if you listen to,
songs
I think they hold up. This one was
the
so
Brian
good.
Wilson album is still
I
good.
think it's just been
Gordon,
for me.
Gordon is
listen
good.
to that one.
Yes.
Sure, I listened to them, but they just don't have the same.
They go apart.
And they have
So,
one
but you're
like-
not in middle school now.
Maybe.
They have a song literally called Middle School.
Yeah.
The
Although
apartment is still great.
At the time, I remember
That is a good song.
that's
they
one of my
sing
favorite
about
songs.
what they sing about Sailor Moon in that song. At the time, I was like, "What kind of nerd watches Japanese animation?" I was wrong on that one.
All of us.
Apparently, I was wrong on that one. So good call on that. But the rest of it, garbage.
Okay, so that's worst song. Does everybody need a bathroom break?
One more. We got one
Okay,
more.
Gary, we're going to move on to best song before our bathroom break. You're going to tell us what the best song of
Okay,
1998
I'm gonna
was.
say the
and
best-
before you say it, I would like to say that there's not really any rules to this category. But for me, I tried to pick a song that wouldn't be on my best album.
Oh,
I would say
okay.
it's something I heard on the radio.
Right, okay.
Driving
Yeah.
around and I heard it. But everybody else can say their own rules about how they pick this song. It didn't need to originate from this year, whatever. Best song.
Wait, didn't it
98.
originate from this year?
It was that.
Check is close.
Forget the whole podcast.
Exactly.
My point is maybe it was on an album that came out just before this year.
All
or
right,
what.
This
well,
is not a math podcast.
I went ahead and used a loophole, and I went with U2's "Sweetest Thing" because that was re-released for the greatest hits. So
Yeah.
that was the
I
best
saw
song.
that. I was hoping nobody was going to do that.
Oh.
You
I did it.
Alicia,
Right before
you can
you-
punch him.
Right before.
No, I don't like to punch Gary.
Aw.
I like your decision.
Thanks.
Okay. I'm glad. Can I go? Sorry. Was
Please.
it Captain's
I think
turn?
Captain.
Oh,
You go ahead. I'll
I'll
wait.
go. Gone Till November by Wyclef Jean.
Yeah.
They got this. Great song. There's two versions.
Isn't Bob Dylan singing?
The Bob
this?
Dylan,
Yeah,
who's
who
in the
can't
video.
sing, apparently.
He's in the video. He doesn't sing it. He's just in the video nodding along
okay.
to it. But man, that song I must listen to 1 billion times. And Wyclef Jean, terrible person, but he bankrupted his whole island nation. They put him in charge of half of his nation, and he bankrupted it. But that song, great. So he gets a pass in my book.
Well, while I was driving around in 1998, my favorite song of this year is "Fly Away" by Lenny Kravitz.
Nice choice. Nice choice. That was on my list.
That's a good song.
It was very popular.
A little over.
It's a fun video. The camera moves all over the place. His crotch.
It's a good song.
Crotch. A lot of crotch
It's,
shots.
it's waiting for that whole
Yeah.
zipper incident. Google it.
Or don't.
Good choice.
Wow.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
I liked Uninvited by Alanis Morissette.
What? Would you like that?
I liked Uninvited by Alanis Morissette.
Right, you were one of the people that made the City of Angels soundtrack jump to number 7.
That was a good song. I like that song.
I'm not judging you. I'm just saying it was a popular
I don't
song.
believe you're never not judging anybody.
That's a different podcast.
That is
Got really deep.
My so-called therapy session.
No, that's Gary and I's other podcast. I don't believe you're ever not judging.
It's just an episode of
Wait a
that.
second. What is
My
that?
so-called not judging anyone.
So I had several choices for this. I went with a one-hit wonder, which was "Flagpole Sitta" by
Ooh, Harvey Danger.
That was a great song.
That's awesome.
Boo?
That song sucks.
Oh, okay.
Zines and you can.
So, I had a hard time picking a favorite single, and since my
This guy who threw out the rules is like, well, now I can't pick
It
one.
could be from
He
any
works
year.
here,
It
right?
doesn't have to be
Works here.
98 based
Come on.
anymore.
Exactly.
It doesn't have to be a song.
It should be a
My
song.
favorite song
It
was
could
the
be my
Seinfeld
favorite.
finale.
My favorite song from this year was Shrimp
Godzilla.
Scampi. No, I'm gonna pick "Sweet Surrender" by Sarah McLachlan as the best song of this year because I liked her a lot, but it wasn't until this song became a single and it was on the radio and I listened to it while I was driving my car kind of loud and I was like, this song kind of rocks a little bit, and I feel like the fact that it like gets a little bit over the hump of being a little too tame, that this one has a little bit of a drum beat and a little bit like it's kind of got the jam, and I like this one a lot. And Alicia had this album, but when I heard it and I was really getting into it, I was like, man, I wish I had this CD. And I was like, well, I have a car, I could go buy this album. So I drove right to the CD warehouse and bought my own copy. So I feel like that's a good measure of a good single right there.
Yeah. For sure.
I picked this, Paul. I picked Waltz Number 2 by Elliott Smith, but to be honest, I like the. That's more of a homage to the album because I couldn't pick out which song that is on the album.
That's the same.
Okay, so just to have a thank you.
You're welcome.
But I'm actually gonna, But the thing is, like, I discovered this album after '98, so in '98, I'm actually gonna pick "Jumper" by Third Eye Blind, just because me and this guy like to sing it a lot in the car.
Wish you would step back from that ledge, my friend.
So we were singing really loud and stupid, and it was a lot of fun. So that's why I like that song. So.
All right.
Cut ties, all lies, you been lit.
So on the nostalgia theme, I'm going to go with "Closing Time" because every time, every night, we were at the bar.
I was close to picking it from words. Yeah.
At the end, gotta hear "Closing Time."
Hey, there's a thin line between love and hate.
There is.
Right,
Closing
that's right.
time indeed.
And up there is "Never There" by Cake.
That's one of mine too.
That's a good song.
I went with two songs that if they came on the radio right now, I would totally sing along with them, even though I've heard them 1,000 times. And one is "Fastball the Way." That song is so good, and it's really tragic. The actual story behind it, it's like this really happy, cheerful song, but actually it's about this elderly couple who like got lost in a road trip and plummets off a cliff.
That's a good album.
It's a great album. It's a fantastic song. And then the other one is Aaliyah, "Are You That Somebody?"
Oh,
I can dance my ass off for that song.
It's
It's so
got
good.
the little like baby noises in it.
Yeah.
That's a fun song.
And then I think it's like Missy Elliott. It's like "Baby Girl." Like
Baby
so
girl. Baby girl.
Yep.
R.I.P. Aaliyah.
So I was absolutely
girl.
going to say Aaliyah because I still dance that song every time it comes on. Also, very similar to that song, which came out that same year, was that Monica and Brandy duet.
This?
That boy is mine. And I would sing that song like no one's business if it came on right now.
That was the song of the summer '98.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Well, so I had three songs on here, and one of them was "The Boy Is Mine." The other one was "Are You That Somebody?" Yeah, and they're great.
They're
like, I was
really good.
Yeah, but then I was gonna also say "Doo Wop That Thing" because I listened to the album
man.
today, and I watched the video. And
That
I really loved
that video.
So I'm gonna go with that just to be a little different.
So there's a video from that album where it's like the whole city is a turntable. And it's the needles.
That's everything is everything.
That's a pretty cool video.
No, doo-wop. That's the
I
one.
like the doo-wop though.
I'm just saying it's a cool video.
You're wrong.
But I'm so glad somebody else said Aaliyah. And
That thing has a lot of advice for youngsters getting involved with the sexual relations.
Are you listening,
Justin?
I got a thing.
Yeah.
See,
Boner City.
Yeah, you do.
Damn.
Right here.
Even your mother is blushing.
I knew I was gonna get this abuse when I showed up here. I thought twice.
I'm just saying it's good advice.
So you guys that are going down memory lane, those were some really good songs that I want to listen to right now. That's awesome. For some reason, I went about it a different way, and when I was looking up albums, I found a Spoon album that I wasn't aware of before, and now I love Spoon. I had no idea about Spoon back in the day, but when I listened to this album, the one that really stuck out to me is called Metal Detector, and that's a really good song.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, it's on there.
Spoon, Metal Detector.
Yep.
You guys should know each other.
Yeah, the world. You weren't the only one that didn't listen to that album. It took a while for the world to catch up with Spoon.
Slow
Didn't have
roll.
anything
Just another
to do with the fact their name
3-4
was Spoon.
years.
Yeah.
Early 2000s when they broke.
All right, guys, we only have 3 categories left to go. We're going to take a quick timeout. Yeah. We will be back with you in a few seconds with the final segment of the Best of 1998, my so-called podcast. Don't you go changing.
Okay.
On my computer, I go online. Welcome. And my breath catches in my chest until I hear 3 little words. You got mail. What is going on with you? Is it infidelity if you're involved with someone on email?
This woman is the most adorable creature I've ever been in contact with.
Have you had sex? Of course not. I don't even know it. I mean cyber sex. No? Well, don't do it. Because the minute you do, they lose all respect for you.
In the city.
Hey, welcome back to my so-called podcast. I am Eric Spiegel, and we are almost through our Best of 1998 podcast. Everybody is hanging in there. We've had cake. We have had beer. We're hanging in there. And Gary, we have 3 categories left to
Only
go.
3 I can't believe it.
And I have added a couple categories this year. Everybody may not understand them, so I will go through them again.
Thank you.
The last one to go here is I didn't get it award. So the I didn't get it award it's a bad movie. It isn't a bad album. It isn't a bad song. It isn't a bad TV show. Not necessarily. But people liked it. People liked it. Critics liked it. It made a lot of money, etc. But I didn't get it. I didn't get it. All right. Gary, that's the category.
Well, Eric, I'm not honoring your category in that description. So I didn't understand what you were talking about at first. And as I was looking at what was out in the theaters, I was like, you know what? The Big Lebowski, I didn't get it first. I get it now. But I didn't get it at first. And so I chose the Big Lebowski.
I like it.
Good one, Gary. That's a good job.
No, but you would in 1998 that would count.
Exactly. I went to the theaters to see it, fresh off Fargo. I was all ready to see the Big Lebowski, and I was like, I don't know what this movie is.
I did not see it in the theaters, but I did see the trailer for it, and I was kind of feeling the same thing, like, why did they do this?
Right, yeah.
They're supposed to make a thriller.
All you really need to know was the plot is inconsequential.
Yeah, right.
But the first time you watch it, you're like, oh, what's going to happen? At the end, you're like, oh, nothing happened.
Right. Well, anybody that has ever seen that movie, if they've only seen it once, you have to go see it again.
Go see it again, man.
Even talk about it.
Once you stop caring about what happens, you can really enjoy it.
Right. No, it's great.
The Little Lebowski, Little Achievers.
By the way, this carpet really brings
Really
ties them together, man.
Which way are we going?
I think Alicia is next.
The I didn't get it award, Alicia.
I didn't get the category.
Oh, ouch! That's gotta hurt.
I'm gonna say,
and you know a guy too.
Who knows a guy?
I don't talk to him.
Right,
I'm gonna say baby doll dresses.
You didn't get those.
Oh, but did you get the Delia catalog?
I did actually. No, not in '98. That was more of a high school thing.
Was that because of Baby Spice?
Oh,
or
possibly.
analogous?
Okay.
Banana?
I said Furbies. I still don't get it. I don't get them.
Banana.
I don't really know how they work. I don't get the draw.
They are terrifying.
I got you one for Christmas.
Why don't they have off switches?
I don't get it.
It's sort of like
you have to yank their
AI,
tail for 10 seconds.
You have to project.
Or yank out the batteries.
Do you have one?
I hate them.
Do your daughters have one?
I also wrote down Furbies. That's
sorry, I said Furbies earlier, guys.
Yeah,
it's okay. But thank you.
Lauren?
Let's see. I didn't get it. I'm gonna say the Rachel haircut.
Oh.
I don't know. I didn't love it. I mean, her hair always looked flawless. I will admit that. But nobody else could wear that damn haircut.
Nope. And everybody tried.
Everybody tried.
So you literally didn't get the Rachel
Well,
haircut.
no, actually, I will say like 10 years later, a hairstylist gave it to me without me asking for it, and I was furious because it looked like a mullet. It was a female mullet.
And you were still beautiful.
But
still beautiful.
Do you have pictures?
No, not from that time period.
You remember that time that you guys gave me a haircut where my hair was long in the front and short in the back, and I looked like I was gay?
No, you look like a woman.
A gay woman.
I gave you a haircut.
I looked
one
like
time.
Cynthia Nixon from Sex and the City.
Yeah, kind of.
It could not beat the haircut that I gave you one time.
That's what I'm talking about.
You're such a Miranda. What a Miranda.
I'm such a Miranda, especially with that haircut.
I don't get it, and I didn't get it then. It still makes me angry. I think Korn and Limp Bizkit.
I
don't get it. I just
good
don't get it.
one.
It makes me angry.
Rap rock, yeah, the rap rock.
And
But he
that was
did
the
it
year
for
when I
the
worked.
nookie.
I worked in the CD store, record store, and they were stolen every
Why don't
day.
you take
and
that cookie?
Every day.
I just spent so much time chasing children or teenagers, and that had stolen those albums from my records. But yeah,
But maybe that's where they belonged, was
Right?
out
Let
of
them
the
go.
record
Take
store.
them out into the world.
You were just handing them
take
out.
a deep breath. I'm gonna take a deep breath. Let go.
I'm going to say cargo pants. Cargo pants. Did not understand.
Really? Have you
Cargo
ever
pants
needed to
were
store
so
things? I mean, they're so cute. They're so
Storage
utilitarian.
solutions.
Absolutely.
Jim stole my next.
If I could wear them every day, socially acceptable. I'd be like, my chapstick and my mints.
I said Furby's.
Furby's, yeah, Paul was on
Paul said Furbies. So as we came in from the break, was You've Got Mail.
Oh.
And I feel like I should have been the target audience for You've Got Mail. I really like Sleepless in Seattle. I like rom-coms. I like Greg Kinnear. I like Parker Posey a ton. I like Nora Ephron. Tom Hanks is my spirit animal.
Tatanka.
That movie sucks.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
And I watched it whenever I was in that zone where it should have been perfect, and I did not get it. I was like, no, it's not good. Maybe because I saw The Shop Around the Corner a few years before that, which is what it's based on, and it's not as good as that. I don't know.
Not even close.
But it's not a good movie, and I don't know why. And I didn't like it. I did not get it.
And it's hard when
You've
feel
Got
like,
Mail.
When they feel like, oh, they're really trying here. Like they got a lot
Everything
of people
is
together.
supposed to connect in a way that should make me happy, and I'm watching the movie and I'm like kind of willing it to happen. I'm like, come on, movie,
this should be.
You
better.
can do it.
The parts are good. The some, not so much.
I don't mind that movie.
I love this. I actually have a sticker on my laptop that says, "What would Kathleen Kelly do?" Because
Oh.
I work in a bookstore. Yeah.
See, this fits. It fits, though. It's a good choice.
She's a good hero, but I just don't buy the
Maybe not,
chemistry.
but
Well, yeah, but that's why it's a good. I didn't get an award because a lot of people do like that movie.
It was a big movie. It was big.
Who were not in the zone like I am, where I'm like, I don't get it. I'm over here like, no, thank you.
It is one of those ones where you think about like the message of the movie, how he, takes her business away and all of that, and they still fell in love. And she's like,
no. Thinking about it, as Greg Kinnear's character, they're way too hard on his character, but they're not as hard on. They should be harder on Tom Hanks' character, who's the bastard of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Think about it.
He's
He's like the Amazon Prime of the
Well,
movie.
he is, right? But
He's the personified Amazon
He's
Prime,
the
and they're like,
son
but he's
of
so
it. Like
nice.
he sort of like can't help it. He's
yeah.
like third or fourth generation.
Right, like Trump. He's like, oh, whatever.
Oh,
no.
They need a new version of the movie where now Tom Hanks' store has gone into business because all those stores are going out, and the shop around the corner is back.
And she falls in love with Jeff Bezos.
No one
And
would
then
fall
the-
in love with Jeff Bezos. That's
And
ridiculous.
the next version of that is The Road by Cormac McCarthy, where everybody's eating each other in the basement.
Pretty much.
That's a great.
I actually looked up You've Got Mail
great
fan
book.
fiction
So
recently to see people
yeah.
have spun the story as a modern thing. It's real fun. Sorry.
Sad story.
Don't be sorry.
I didn't get it.
I didn't get it.
That's fine.
Okay, so Korn and Limp Bizkit were mentioned. I want to be sure to throw Kid Rock into the
good,
mix.
yeah.
Oh,
but he's from Detroit. So you must love him.
Scott, whenever we were there, we were at the farmer's market. What's it called?
Eastern Market?
Eastern Market, and there's a whole like pavilion there that's like Kid Rock Pavilion.
Does he like fresh fruit? Kid Rock likes fresh fruit?
He likes Detroit.
He doesn't look like he likes fresh fruit. He looks like he's
Scurvy
a
looks
vegetable in a long time.
Scurvy.
Agreed.
Scurvy.
He looks like he likes roast beef and
Seems a scrubbing.
cocaine.
So the horror that is Kid Rock, and then also what was mentioned earlier is the swing dance thing, which no.
Well, yeah.
That was 99.
Talk about that.
It happened in 98, and it was fun.
It was fun.
Throw back a bottle of beer.
I was one of those dancers she was doing.
I swing dance every Tuesday.
Sweaty old Paul.
You do.
What?
You do currently?
What?
I swing dance every Tuesday night.
Currently?
Where do you do that?
That's awesome.
At the Handlebar in the Grove.
Oh, nice. I should go.
There's an old man that swing dances with you, right?
Yeah, he's delightful. He's been swing dancing for 75 years.
Wow.
I know.
See, but it's
And
not a fad.
It's fun. It's not
Yeah,
bad
it's
anymore.
really not.
Yeah, take
It's
your hate
not-
elsewhere.
And he was like too busy hitting on a 28-year-old to talk to me the other time.
You were too old.
He knows you're not available.
No,
He thinks it's like 1998 or something.
He was still old in 98.
I don't know.
What did I not get? I did not get Celine Dion. I still don't get Celine Dion.
What?
Celine Dion. Celine Dion.
Good
Celine
answer.
Dion. I don't understand.
Yeah.
A lot of people did get Celine Dion.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Twice.
I had
Got
a
her as a
real
gift
like love
on the
for
Titanic
her, like
And her
early
own
on,
album.
like that Power of Love song. I was
Cause
like,
I'm
oh
your
yeah.
lady.
But by 98,
You
it was
don't
like,
have to sing everything.
No, that's true. He might have to.
I don't think he does.
I didn't think so.
Every episode to keep him in check.
Just in the background.
I had a situation when I was in college. There was a young girl who was like maybe 3 or 4 years younger than I was, and I remember like she and I were good friends, and we were going somewhere after class. We got in her car, and it's like blaring Celine Dion, and she's like, "Oh, I just love her," and I'm like, "Oh, that's hilarious." Oh, you're not joking. You do love her. I don't know how to respond.
I know.
Yeah.
I would
You
like
just
a glass
jump
of
out of the
May
car.
I have a glass of water
Oh,
to settle to my foot?
Two
No, I do that all the time.
The car is moving and you just get out.
Open the door.
Oh, I gotta go.
You don't need to jump. Just let yourself out.
That's outstanding, I meant to say, because she's wonderful.
She's a treasure.
It's almost like asking somebody if they're when they're due, and they say, "Oh, I'm not pregnant." There's nothing else that you can
there's
say
no-
at that moment. In time.
Gary and I have had this conversation.
Gary, you're pregnant?
Gary and I have had this conversation many times,
Yep.
but there is a Celine Dion video that's around this time period that is like a Meatloaf video. And she's in she's sort of in a palace.
Yeah, we've
Yeah.
all seen that. Come on, don't
yeah.
pretend you haven't
yeah.
seen
And
it.
it's sort of like she's like ripping
Isn't it like a
aside sort of
motorcycle?
curtains, and
There's
there's
gotta be fabric
motorcycles
blowing.
and
It was
such.
almost exactly like I'm doing the
And
thing.
yeah, it's like it's the song sounds like a
That's it.
Meatloaf song.
It's gotta be.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
And
Which one was
All
it?
coming back to me.
And it's all coming back to me now. Now it's coming back to me. Oh, nah.
Somebody slapped Nick.
Same thing, right? Same
Yeah.
thing.
So anyway, Justin?
What are we talking about again? Oh, well,
I mean,
What?
I don't get it.
Yeah,
Would be
I'm
more
aware.
appropriate.
well, the thing I did not get
the hell is
is
going on
arguably
here?
the most popular thing of probably 1998. I could not get into Friends.
That's
could
okay.
not.
I can see
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Like, how could
I
they
like to
afford
get
that
some-
apartment,
Yeah.
right? They're
It's
goddamn
right.
wages at a coffee
Right.
I
shop.
thought millennials loved Friends.
They do.
I don't think
Just
Justin's a
'cause-
millennial. I think he's at
No, he's
Yeah.
Oh,
actually
he's not old
He's
enough to
more
like
woke.
Friends.
You're
Post-millennial.
more woke than those millennials.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
I like to get some friends together and watch Friends. That's me.
So, Justin, let me explain it to you. So Joey's kind of doofy. Phoebe is doofy but hilarious. Monica, she's a little
all right, we all know Friends. Nick, what did you get?
Well, we already talked about like Armageddon. Like that was the #1 movie and the #1 song at the same time. But we already talked about that. What I didn't get is the 1998 Oscars, where
it made me scream my head off.
Yeah, where Titanic swept it all. James Cameron
that's
got
a different thing.
James Cameron got up there in King of the World speech. And also, Celine Dion got up there and did her Heart Will Go On. And that segued into Elliott Smith singing Miss Misery, which is probably the most beautiful thing I've ever seen on TV. It's him in a white tux singing that song. And that was in the same segment. And then also, Robin Williams beat out Burt Reynolds for Boogie Nights. Boogie Nights got shut out. That whole broadcast was... There were so many good movies in 1997... And none of them won anything in 1998 at the Oscars.
Right.
That whole Oscar ceremony, I remember watching it like, have they watched the same movies that are like Titanic was?
They have.
Is that when James Cameron said like, I guess it proves that bigger is better? Is
Yeah,
that
it was that. That's the same thing.
Wow.
He was like indignant about it.
Right.
Like, screw you. Whereas like I watched Boogie Nights and I was like, this might be the best thing I've ever goddamn seen. Like it was mind blowing. It was mind blowing. So. Yeah, those 98 Oscars.
Have you guys talked about that yet, by the way?
Boogie
Nights?
No.
Nope.
What?
Interesting.
Lauren,
see you in 2 weeks. Gary?
Gary, the next category is the they didn't get it category, which means that it seemed like everybody was into it, whether it was critical or your friends or whatnot, but you were sort of like, I guess I won't say anything about this thing.
That's the other way.
Oh, yeah, you're
the other way. Nobody saw it, but you were like, this is super cool.
Oh, yeah. The other way around is everybody was like, this is super great. I love it. It's so great. And I was like, I don't know.
Speaking of not getting it.
So I was kind of focusing. I enjoy movies, so I was looking at the movies of all these. And so I went with Thin Red Line as a movie that I thought was a very beautiful movie and didn't get enough credit. Thin Red Line.
Yeah, it kind of got flack.
Gary, will you explain the category again?
Yeah.
I did not
Somebody
explain it
Eric,
again.
Swing and a miss.
All right, Eric, be quiet for 30 seconds. Go, Eric. Go, Gary.
Any piece of pop culture that was acclaimed but left you cold. Wait,
No, the
that
other
you
way.
enjoyed.
No, that was the last one.
See how hard it is.
They didn't get it. Any piece of pop culture that was ignored but you enjoyed.
Yes.
That's what I meant to say.
Fourth time is the charm.
Gary, what?
So, while I was saying, well, I wasn't completely ignored. I went with Thin Red Line. It was kind of overshadowed by Saving Private Ryan, but I thought it was a very good movie and deserved more recognition than Red Line.
I'd like to watch that.
Yeah.
I will say it came out in 1998. Run Lola Run, the podcast I was on, it didn't come out in the States until 1999. But still, I thought Run Lola Run when I saw it like blew my mind. Listened to the soundtrack like a million times. It basically most movies look like that now. Really quick cuts.
I
music.
feel like the Spider-Verse owes a lot to
exactly. I watched Spider-Verse and I was like, "This is like Run Spider Run."
Yes.
Like I feel like so many movies.
There's so many things that are like it takes a snapshot and shows you 2 seconds before that thing, kind of
just
a thing.
the whole concept, the quick cuts, like all of it. I thought this is it, and nobody saw. I mean, I get it, but nobody saw it at the time. I didn't see 1998 either. I saw 99 in the summer when it came here, but still, Run Lola Run. I was like, this is amazing. Everyone watch this, but. Back in the day, like, subtitles were a bad word. Like, oh, but it's in another language.
Say that nobody got it. I mean, Franco Patent got to be in the Bourne movie.
Not nobody, but yes, that is Run Lola Run.
Tyler
Good stuff.
Welker helped with the Wachowskis.
What? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and without him, we wouldn't have Cloud Atlas.
Yep.
Justin?
Well, I honestly don't know how people feel about this movie. Call it a guilty pleasure of mine if you would like, but I picked Blade starring Wesley Snipes.
Oh, man,
so
that movie
good.
rules. The soundtrack alone, man.
So,
Stephen Dorff.
if you think about it, that's
Playing
the
Eurotrash?
beginning of the Marvel extended cinematic universe, right? Like, what's before Blade?
That was the first of the modern Superman movies.
This and then X-Men.
X-Men, yeah, that was the modern.
So that's the beginning of the modern. Yeah.
I mean, Donald Logan, come on.
Yeah, Stephen Dorff.
Yeah, I mean,
Chris Christopherson is in that movie.
Chris Christopherson, yeah.
Guillermo del Toro directed the sequels.
I remember we were leaving the movies from that.
It's all good.
And our friend Kit,
yeah,
he was like, "It'd be fun to be a vampire because you could just fuck shit up all the time." And I was like, "Yeah, that's that guy."
Checks out.
Okay.
You're passing. All right, Beth. Yeah. Okay, Scott.
So I mentioned one of the best albums of the year was "Prolonging the Magic" by Cake.
Yeah,
indeed. And I felt like they were like on MTV a lot in like '96, and they seemed like they were fairly popular.
The Distance was a big hit.
Yeah, and then this album, which I think is great and better.
Yeah,
basically did nothing whatsoever. So, and they kind of became just like a niche band.
Yeah, dropped off the radar for sure.
Yeah.
All right, Kate, good call.
They didn't get it. I would say I've got a tie. My tie is between the Meryl Streep movie One True Thing, which nobody knows very well, but it's got Renee Zellweger in it, and it's a very good quality film. It's a good Meryl Streep performance with William Hurt in it. Nobody's seen.
I've seen it.
I like to revisit it in the fall sometimes. It's a good movie. They didn't get it. And on the other side of the coin is the Robert Rodriguez horror movie The Faculty, which
that's great. Jon Stewart, man.
It's a movie where everybody at the high school is alien. That all the teachers turn into alien killers and nobody believes the students, and they have to do drugs to be safe from the teachers.
It's like super subversive. It's really kill your
Faculty
bastards
is really good. I really like The Faculty quite a bit, and Oasis plays over the end credits. Which
and then Gotcha Where I Want You by The Flies.
Yeah.
With the video with Katie Holmes in it.
Stay Young by Oasis.
I remember Joe.
So,
that's mine. You just gave me mine. Thank you.
Yeah, so The Faculty, I enjoy The Faculty quite a bit.
All right, I was going to skip this category until Jim Kelly went last time, so I'm going to say cargo pants. I love cargo pants. If I had one clothing item to pick for the apocalypse to wear forever, it would be cargo pants.
Everybody should pick that for the apocalypse.
Get all your stuff, man. Get all your stuff.
That's it.
Yeah.
Or maybe a
That's all.
Or maybe the zip-up pants, so you can have a choice. The best of
I'm going to go with kind of the Mermaid Avenue, Wilco. I think Sunvolt Trace came out maybe a little before that, maybe a year or two before that. So. But the whole Americana kind of rock sort of thing was underappreciated at the time, but has certainly taken off in the years between.
Yep.
And
Twangfest.
Yeah, Roots and Rock, all that stuff.
Yeah. There was
David
a
Brothers.
98 Twangfest.
Was there?
Yeah.
Awesome. Good call, Jim.
Yeah.
Amanda.
I kind of want to say, because I worked in a music store then, I feel like 1998 is the year I started arguing with people about women in rock not all sounding the same, and that really frustrated me.
Because they weren't all at Lilith.
They were, well, yeah, and everyone would compare different ones and say, like, oh, she's just like that. I'm like, no, she's not. So I would say that's my thing that was really frustrating. Mm-hmm. Explain to people that they didn't get women. They didn't get it, that they were all different artists.
Although, you could probably go any year in history they didn't get women.
Yeah, and you could say the Lilith Fair is kind of annoying in that way, and like they lump them all together, and therefore they were all the same at that point.
Poor Sarah McLachlan, though. Like, come on, she had a great big tour of all women rockers making money.
Yes, but for those of us like doing it, like to have those people all compare to do the same sounds, like they don't sound the same.
No, they.
You can like one and not like the other. Yeah, all that.
Right, well, like Bonnie Raitt is not Natalie Merchant.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So it was just one more thing that lumped them.
They are so Lauren?
I'm having a hard time with this category. This category is difficult.
All right, you can skip. We don't want to put any pressure on you.
I love the movie Sliding Doors, and I feel like that was kind of overlooked a little bit. So maybe that was one.
Well, I also enjoy Gwyneth Paltrow with brown hair.
Yeah, she did.
And
She
a
was
British
very
accent.
mousy, kind of with the brown hair.
For
And
1988.
it was like blonde is the better her, and then like the mouse. You know, it's kind of yeah.
I know.
She's the blonde one.
She's an overlooked Gwyneth.
Yeah.
Are there some things you should keep to yourself?
Not here, Paul.
Well,
Gary can take care of it.
yeah.
I don't have anything.
All right, Alicia.
So the movie that The Ring was based on.
Ringu.
Yes, that came out in '98, and I didn't see it then. I saw it later, but that was very good, and I didn't feel like anybody ever really talked about
That was
that.
overlooked.
Japanese
Like that
horror
hotel.
movies
Japanese,
are
yeah.
great.
Yeah.
The Grudge, also good.
I saw Eyes. There's an Eyes movie where like she gets an eye transplant and she's seeing dead people, but they're just the people from the. I don't remember what it was.
Also?
No. Because she's not trying to help dead people. Yeah. So, spoiler alert. Yeah.
Gary, we're down to the final category.
Thank God.
For the love of
We like you,
Christ.
Gary. Why don't you pick us?
The last category of the year and the podcast is the best movie.
Best movie in
Because
1998.
I like cinema, so it's my podcast, and I picked this one to be the last one. The best movie goes to Gary.
Rushmore.
Yes.
Yeah.
People said that. Right?
Why?
I think it is great. There you go. Done.
It's a great movie.
Yeah.
A lot of cargo pants in that movie.
Celine Dion's in it.
Gwyneth
Bunch of
Paltrow.
friends.
Beastie Boys.
Yeah.
Friends.
Yeah. Good movie.
Oh, is it
Alicia.
my turn again? I'm gonna go with The Wings of the Dove.
Ooh, classic. It's short, too. It's
Very
short.
short.
Don't know that one.
I
Sexy.
did not consider that when I chose the movie.
I saw it at the High Point. It's good.
I just see that. Never seen it.
Helen
It's,
Bonham Carter in her youth.
I remember that.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with The Truman Show because I can still watch it now and enjoy it, and that's the reason. The end.
Well, and it's super profound.
Yeah.
It
It gets more profound every year.
Yeah, it's
It does,
as
actually,
as
social
better
media
now
and
than it
everything.
was then.
Absolutely.
It's so good.
The time you were like, oh, that's ridiculous. You watch it now and you're like,
Oh yeah.
oh, they don't have cell phones. Like, that's about all you think now.
So there's a lot of great movies from this
Yeah, there
year.
is.
I was very
I did
surprised to
not
see.
agree.
I thought there was a
3 or
number
4.
of them that I thought that I really liked for very different reasons.
Yeah.
And so it's hard for me to pick the kind of the one. So I'm going to go with the big one that nobody's mentioned yet, but Saving Private Ryan. I remember seeing it in the theaters, and I remember actually feeling like I was there,
Yes.
which I wasn't. And it's pretty amazing that I kind of feel like I was. So I thought that was very well done.
Yeah, that first half an hour
Yeah.
is traumatic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's really nothing at all in cinema like the
No.
first half hour. Of
It
the
was,
movie.
and seeing it in the theater was, it wasn't like an unreal experience. You actually felt like you could almost feel the just bullets and everything. It was just
You wanted to
visceral.
You wanted to leave.
Yeah, it was real. It felt like you were there. Yeah.
I'm up to second Rushmore.
Yep.
Completely. That's a
Yeah.
movie that there was before Rushmore and there was after Rushmore.
Oh, right, yeah.
And yeah, it was such a mark for.
What
a lot
did you
of
do?
things.
I saved Latin, you know?
Right. With friends like that, who needs friends?
Who needs
There's so
friends?
many good. Yeah. So many
Unlock it. There you go.
I second Saving Private Ryan. For sure.
All right. I was going to say The Big Lebowski, but I didn't really watch that until afterwards. And since this is Gary's podcast, I'm going to go with Rushmore.
All right. Yeah.
It's my so I'm still the midway point. So I'll let you guys know what the top movies were of the year.
All right.
Okay.
Patch Adams.
Womp womp.
Is that number 10?
Yep. Godzilla.
Really?
Man.
Wow.
Deep Impact.
Yeah.
The worst porn ever.
Better than Armageddon, though.
No, it
Deep
wasn't.
Impact was better than Armageddon.
No, it was just bad. Armageddon was
Deep
bad
Impact
funny.
was better than Armageddon, but it still was the
No.
worst porn ever. Rush Hour.
Also a bad porn.
All
the ladies laugh.
Also a terrible pornography film, Dr. Dolittle. If you will. And also a terrible pornography film, The Water Boy. You can do it. You can do it.
Oh, there you go.
Amanda is crying over there. She's crying.
The top 4 were A Bug's Life, There's Something About Mary, Armageddon, and the number 1 box office hit of the year, Saving Private Ryan. I would give best film of the year, since everybody's already said all the other ones I might have said, and I have some other ones I might have loaded in here. Out of Sight.
Yep.
Which
that was my James Elmore.
Also might have been tied with a They Didn't Get It award, which was it wasn't a big hit, but just the trunk scene alone, the George Clooney trunk scene, and also the sex scene where they're having dinner, cut with the snow behind them with the sex back and forth.
Killer.
The movie award.
It's really amazing.
Jennifer Lopez, George Clooney movie.
Out of Sight.
Yeah.
That's maybe number 1 sex scene of all time, because you almost don't even know if it happened or not, which is sort of a cool ephemeral thing with sex, you know?
The 1998
No,
movie award.
Sorry, Alicia.
I'd like to know sex happened. I'm gonna throw it out.
I agree. If it's questionable, that's
I like to know. Like, I want to know. I want to know if sex happened.
Sure.
You know?
I'm just saying it's over before you want it to be.
That's the best thing.
So I would definitely agree with Rushmore.
That's really bad.
as the number 1 movie.
Yeah,
so
Rushmore.
Definitely
3 votes. 3 votes.
Just very original. Just
Remember
awesome.
Out of Sight, though?
I don't know if I've ever seen that.
It's good. You should
very
watch it.
slick.
Yeah.
And then my second place would be Big Lebowski, which I thought was great when I saw it.
Yeah, Big Lebowski is great.
The trunk scene, though.
Yep.
So you're saying there's a trunk scene?
You're saying there's a sex scene that may or may not have happened.
All right, best movie in 1998.
Rushmore.
Rushmore.
The basketball scene.
Oh yeah.
The helicopter scene.
Also when he's at the wrestling match, he's like, "You're wrestling? I'm an alternate.
The bees.
The thing I remember from the wrestling scene at the beginning is whenever Bill Murray is like, "How are these my offspring?"
I like when he's getting on the lemonade and he's like, "Were you in the shit?"
Yeah. I was in the shit. And Jason Schwartzman just nods.
Yeah, I know.
What the ending? The faces ending. That last shot of the movie is like Boner City, man.
That was the original title.
He's dancing with his love, man. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Isn't that the movie where I warned you that if I ever met Luke Wilson, I would go in a closet?
Oh yeah, we haven't even mentioned. Oh, are they?
I wanted to say that when we talked about ER.
Hey, what's with the pajamas, guy? These are horse scrubs. Oh, are they? No, I don't.
Still funny.
I don't think it's Luke Wilson's in that movie.
No, not Luke.
No, it's Luke.
Yeah, it is Luke.
He's
not
Owen
Wilson.
All the and the other
Owen Wilson wrote it.
The other Wilson brothers in it too. He plays the coach.
Yeah.
He's the OR scrub.
No, yeah. So Alicia's quote about this brother pair was, "It's a good thing Luke Wilson isn't your brother because at Christmas or whatever." I was just like, well, I guess I hope that I'm okay enough to go over that bar for the rest of our lives that I'm not as.
Keep going.
Wah, wah, wah. All right, well,
Justin.
I'm gonna have to be the second vote for The Truman Show.
All right, yeah, that's a good.
It is a good movie.
You mean Out of Sight?
No, not at all. This was the movie that kind of made me realize, Jim Carrey can do something other than Ace Ventura or The Mask or something like that. He was really good in that movie.
Yeah, that and Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, set him right up for it. Set him up. I was a big fan of Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, but by far the best movie was Terry Gilliam's Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. That movie, I read the book about 6 months before that, and that movie, phenomenal. That was almost an unfilmable book, and he somehow managed to film it. That was like the 5th try they tried to film that book, and Terry Gilliam figured it out, and still to this day, best movie.
Tobey Maguire's Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
So, I feel like we have to have you on, Cap, to do that, because I feel like I was huge into Terry Gilliam, and I was open to whatever, and I could not get into that movie. So I need to rewatch it, and we need to have you on to explain it to me.
I don't like this podcast. I'm not in.
Maybe you need to read the book. Maybe you need to read the book.
Okay, I will come on for a 10th time now. I will come on for the 10th time.
Gary,
Eric.
It's been a great gas.
Yes, it has.
Gary, you have gas.
Excuse me. It was that bean I had.
That one.
That's a Simpsons joke.
That's a joke.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all for being here, and thank you to Beth for those leggings. Come on back for another My So-Called podcast in 2 weeks. God bless.